Yeah, okay. How's the Vimix now?
Hello.
What's up? Tomorrow. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Okay. Okay. Sure. That's great. Okay. Still can believe it. Oh. Ah, well. Yeah. I'm still one. Silently.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back here to the Umzansi Esports League. It has been a while, but we have returned. Season 3 is going to be kicking off today. We've got a lot of action underway for you. A lot has changed since we've last seen each other, but what hasn't changed is the exciting lineup we have for you coming up today. We will be having FIFA and later on some PUBG Mobile. Of course, this excitement does come with not just the competitive spirit, but it comes with some money. It's quite important to have that prize money for the teams to be competitive. FIFA, of course, is going to have a total prize pool of $2,500. PUBG Mobile, $15,000 in total. So quite a lot to play for. It is going to be exciting. The action is going to be kicking off very, very shortly. And today is the beginning of a long in Season 3. I'm not going to be alone. I'm Snare, hosting for today, but I'm not alone. I'm joined by Fire, a new addition to the Umzansi team. And we welcome him here. Umzansi, please welcome Fire. Fire, my friend, how are you? Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm really great. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be part of the team. And yeah, just here to bring that excitement. Yeah.
So one of the things we are doing, of course, is that we're going all African. We're bringing it all in. We're bringing it local. So tell us, Fire, you have been on the outside looking in thus far. How does it feel now, being right now in front of the camera? What do you expect to see for the following season of Umzansi Esports League?
Definitely, I expect to see the action that we've seen. You know, just watching Umzansi from FIFA to PUBG, even Apex Legends that just previously finished. I mean, the action is always great. You know, I've actually played in concert myself, and you know, it's just really tough. So just to be here watching those teams, the teams that you do love, you know, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, I just yeah, I'm a bit excited. I guess I mean that's the only word I could use for it. But yeah, I can't wait to see how the various teams are going to do this season. I do know like a lot of people are going to step up the game.
Yeah, stepping up their game. Of course, today's game
exactly
be a cracker. Unfaizdd Season 1 champion, taking on one of the new kids on the block, Young Savage, another signee of Goliath Gaming. But what do you think about these kind of matchups where we have someone who epitomizes the old guard in the form of Unfaizdd, having somebody like Young Savage? Young is in the name, so a new up-and-comer. Do you think he's going to be up for the challenge, or do you think that experience from Unfaizdd will carry him over the line in the game?
I mean, it definitely is down to tactics at the end of the day, the tactics that the various players deploy and the teams that they choose. I definitely would always love to root for the underdog because, you know, just being an Arsenal fan, you know, you always love to root for that young star, you know, who come in and just try to upset the balance, you know. So yeah, for me, that's, you know, is the direction I would go. You love to see things like that. It's always interesting. But at the end of the day, I mean, you never know. The experienced player always has the upper hand.
Speaking of a young star who's also quite experienced, we have the boss, Dr. Sid, legend on the continent, back with us on the cast. How are you, my friend?
What's up, guys? Shout out to everybody in the building. What's up, Snare? What's up, Agfire? It is nice to be here. It is Umzansi Season 3. I'm super excited. Started on a crazy note because I had a little technical difficulty, but I'm here with you and super excited to be part of this amazing team that is bringing Africa the best in East. Today, we're starting with games that obviously are two of my personal favorites, FIFA 21 and PUBG Mobile today on the Umzansi Season 3. Umzansi has been at Northern Gaming having put together some of the best competitive gaming tournaments on the African continent. And this is one of the most anticipated leagues and tournaments on the esports calendar in Africa. I've had a lot of teams hit me up as soon as they found that I was going to be part of this, saying that they can't wait to see the action that happens. So let's take a look at what's happening next. The players that are going to be playing today, we have a lot of teams. We have Mobizilla. I mean, Snare, can you talk us through the players and the standings for this particular games tonight?
With pleasure. So these are the overall standings for everybody thus far. We just have started things out. A couple of new names that people will be seeing and some that are missing. Bobo Beast held it down from Season 2, will retain his position. Young Savage came up. He's been playing like a boss lately, but we'll see the loss of Metronome. Unfortunately, Wasim has moved on to bigger things, so his spot is going to be filled by Darth Mayhem. A lot of these players, Mobizilla, Divak, The Beast, Unfaizdd, Masoom, all of them have actually been in the top four and have found themselves competing for the championship. So we have some extremely skilled competition already from them. The new kids on the block will have to prove that they deserve to be here, but it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult. Champions are still around. I mean, the Beast, everybody knows his name, hasn't yet been able to put his stamp of authority on Umzansi Esports League, but the world knows him. So on his day, definitely can't beat anybody. Unfaizdd is a champion. Masoom has been able to come away with some amazing victories. Moby season 2 champion, the defender right now. So quite a lot is happening. I'm quite excited about how this is all going to pan out, just because we have that beautiful mix of new talent with some genuine veterans. So this top 8, at the end, whoever is on top can definitely say that they are the best in South Africa.
So one of the names that actually stands out for me, I don't know, for some reason I just like the sound of Unfaizdd, which basically means he's not scared of anything. He's not scared of anything. I'm having a little difficulty hearing in my headsets right now. So I'm sorry.
I was going to say that you're entirely right about his name, in the sense that him being Unfaizdd, he lives up to that every single time. Like, he's known for this hyper-aggressive, counter-attacking football. Every single time that you try to put pressure onto him, he just is able to absorb it till the last moment and then try counter it out instantly. So he does have that capacity to play and live up to his name. When he won in Season 1, he wasn't doing that great at the beginning, but he took a risk that nobody else was willing to try. At the time, in meta teams, everybody was picking France, everybody was picking Liverpool. He shook it up by going for Barcelona, and it was good enough to actually lead him not just over the finish line in the league play, but over the playoffs to the victory at the end of the day. So you're definitely right that Unfaizdd, that's his name for a good reason. So every single time he's on the pitch, you can never really count him out.
Now, I just want to quickly reiterate about the prize pool. Sorry, Axfire, because for me, one of these things is to understand that there are a lot of things that players are definitely playing for today, and the prize pool of a total of $17,500 and $2,500 is up for grabs today. Now, Tony, what kind of motivation are these players looking for today? Need today?
I think the players know what they're up against. The competition is fierce. PUBG Mobile, they've been doing this battle for quite some time, and it's not just about the money for them. Yes, the money is an extra motivation, of course. Everybody loves the cash, but at the end of the day, they want that respect. They want to be called the tier 1 teams. They want to be called the best in Africa, and that title is one they will kill for.
So we are into the game screen right now, and it's Unfaizdd against Young Savage. And at this point, Dr. Sid is going to back out and leave you in the very capable hands of Snare and Tony as we walk through the gameplay.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. Now we get into it. Actfire, the way things have changed up in previous seasons, we now are playing Ultimate Team, so going to be a lot of variety in terms of the players on the pitch. We have seen pretty much everybody making use of Gullet right now. We didn't get to see what formations are being used right now, but at the beginning of this game, give me your first impressions. What players do you expect to fully see happening? Who do you see being able to break this deadlock that's already been emerging at the beginning of the game?
I mean, I already see the gameplay from Unfaizdd. He certainly does have some control in the way he passes and the way he sort of like holds position. It does seem like he's a bit more composed about his gameplay so far, but you never know. He might get countered by his opponent, and yeah, it could take the game. But it does seem like he's got everything under control when it comes to like his structure, how he defends, and how he just certainly holds the ball. He's not in a hurry, and yeah, he might break down that defense slowly.
And Savage has seen more of the ball at this stage, has spent a lot of time trying to probe this defensive Unfaizdd, but like you mentioned, set up well and not falling for any tricks. Look how difficult it is at this point for Young Savage. Can't even find any positive passing lanes. He's just trying to play this wide. Mbappe, even Mbappe getting shut down, can find nothing in the space.
Exactly. It's a very tricky one right now, but I think he makes to get that opportunity to get that goal in, and yeah, You never know.
The first half will elapse without a goal going in either direction. Does seem that both players not really trying to have anything be too aggressive thus far. You know, we're still early days. That time will come. Still feeling each other out. Everybody still needs to warm up. It is a 2-leg series as well, so there's a lot of time in order to try and catch back up. Technically, this is only half 2 or 4. So why press the envelope, right? Why try to make things happen before you're ready? So feel each other out, pick out the perfect pass. And also, we've seen in FIFA 21 how easily it can happen that a random ball just slips past you into a goal, right?
In any second, exactly. And the thing is, I feel like Umfaiz is probably just being cautious at this point in time, trying to study his opponent. I mean, just watching the way he's playing really cautiously. Which I mean, I think Savage should probably take advantage of that. You know, if he could get an early goal in, he could pretty much just shake things up. And yeah, just change the entire direction of the game. But yeah, let's see how it builds up. But my money is on Savage, though. You know, I love the underdogs.
The underdog. He's got the kind of players that can break deadlocks. Bruno Fernandes, with Sanchez in the middle, and of course having Mbappe out in front. Unfortunately for him, though, there is Mbappe on the other side, so he can get counted out. What a pass! This might be a bit dangerous, but João Cancelo, man, how annoying is it to try and get a run on the flank, but having to find João Cancelo immediately in front of you.
Exactly. It's a really dangerous one when. Ooh, this is a really dangerous position to be in. If he could get that crossing, but he just decides to back out, be a little bit more conscious. I can see like he's trying to just break the defense down, and that pass.
Let's do it!
Whoa!
Okay. Oh, offside! Oh my gosh. We were just talking about how in FIFA 21, random balls can just slip past you, turn into goals, but also what can happen is that the offside trap is so marginal these days. Catches him out, the goal denied. That's going to be a little bit of sweat now, though, for Unfaizdd, because he's not going to feel very happy about the fact that he's like, I scored the goal, it gets disallowed. Seriously? Very bad times.
Exactly. You can see like he's really cautious about the way he plays. He's really composed. Like, and that's the thing I said from the beginning, right? The difference between the two players is you know, Savage obviously with that inexperience, you know, he wants to get in. He's rushing. You know, he's not really composed about how he's defending. But yeah, he's still a good player, so he still keeps like a good defensive line. But you know, even in his attack, he's a bit too anxious to get the ball forward, and that's really affecting him. But Savage wants to break you down. You know, he had the chance to cross, but he still saw another opportunity to get the ball in the middle and get that pass in. So yeah, those are the things that, you know, experience teaches you, and that's what he has right here.
Speaking of experience, Savage was able to get off a pretty key tackle with Mendy. Now he's used that tackle to carry the momentum all the way to the other side of the pitch.
My goodness.
For a goal here. Neymar, what a tackle.
That was really dangerous. That
was marvelous.
Ooh, and yeah, going in right now. This is a really dangerous position.
This could turn into a goal, but he couldn't find any real target to pass to right now. Oh, the through ball, there's like a sliver of speed. He managed to find it. Still though, searching for this backfire. Oh, blocked off though. Renato Sanchez has been really instrumental at blocking off this goal that might be coming in here from Unfaizdd.
Yeah, exactly. And Varane has just saved them a couple of times in that defense. Just blocking those final balls. I think his structure is really dependent on his defense. It does seem like the defensive midfield is lacking a bit, but now this attack is a really dangerous one. If you could get Ronaldo into the right spot.
Oh, Bruno Fernandes in position. This is when Unfaizdd gets most dangerous though, when he can find himself on the counter attack. But it does seem like Young Savage has been using this time that Unfaizdd has been spending being quite conservative to also feel out his own attack. So he's set up quite well to absorb this pressure. Can he make the key tackle? Yes, he can. Mendy, the hero once again, keeping this a clean sheet.
Oh, this does seem like a really, really tight battle between two guys who definitely know what they're doing.
I think it also helps that they are
Rashford.
in the same team. So being in the same team, they might have learnt each other's tricks.
Yeah,
Although,
exactly.
with Rashford, carries the ball fairly far forward, but damn, just feels like there's yellow shirts everywhere. Unfaized, not gonna allow a pass through, but Ronaldo back in possession. Can he get the dribble? No.
Oh my goodness.
Young Savage
Whoa.
gets denied.
Whoa. You can definitely see, right? Like, while FaZe is just playing it cautious, making the right moves, breaking down the defense in a traditional way. Young Savage is just bringing those rough, rugged, skills into the game and just making it, more dynamic. But yeah, he one of those tricks may just get the ball into there. Like, you never know how this games could go.
Opportunity.
This could go anyway.
It's going to be Unfaized's turn now to try and break down this defense. Nice pass back in. Can he get the cross though, or the key pass back all the way down to the touchline? But still very difficult to get the ball into a nice position. Gillett dispossesses, but Neymar's still going to be there in the scramble. Reclaims possession, but Mendy, my goodness, ventures far out from position, but just ends up being worth it.
So you see that's it again. That true pass right there from Ronaldo is why I said sometimes Savage gets a bit too anxious because he wants to get the ball, so he tries risky things, and that could go either ways. It's a 50-50 thing. But playing against a player like FaZe, you need to bring up something really special to break down that defense.
To his credit, besides the lack of real full DM pressure that you mentioned earlier, he still managed to keep the ball. He still looks like he's going to keep a clean sheet here, despite being the underdog. And he's going to have the last play. Will Rashford be able to open up the defense here? Running very slowly, getting it back onto Gillett. Sanchez, can he carry this forward far enough to actually find a goal? How Cancelo looking for the step over, but gets dispossessed. Unfaized keeps it still 0-0. Keeps it 0-0.
Ooh la la. Credit right there to the underdog. Putting up a really great fight right there.
What do you think they could have done differently to try to break that deadlock? In particular, Unfaized, right? He's the one that you would have expected to be the one to find the goals, but nothing ended up happening for him. So he tried over and over again, but it seemed like Young Savage had his number. What should he do differently for game 2?
I think he was really cautious. You could see definitely that Savage was trying out those risk moves, with the true passes, with the long passes. You never know, a mistake here or there, and you may get the ball, at the back of the net. But I feel like FaZe was just being cautious. He didn't want to lose. He wanted to go out of this game with a good scoreline because he knows how dangerous his opponent is. So yeah, he's definitely done his homework.
I think though, again, if they go into the second one, that he himself can afford to come out a bit more explosively, right? Because he showed in game 1 that he's able to marshal his defense when he has to, and that he shouldn't be that afraid of. It started happening a bit more as the second half started progressing, that he started being a bit more adventurous. But I think if he starts out the gates with that, if he's able to find, for example, a surprise goal early on and then defend in that same way, then he can keep the clean sheet, absorb a lot of pressure, and make life really difficult for Young Savage.
Yeah, he definitely shows he's one of those players who can be extremely composed about how he plays, how he moves the ball, how he holds his defense. His defense is really tough to break down. You can see, the tricks kept coming in, the long balls kept coming in, but it just seemed like he had a plan for every single move. Like he had some sort of like sixth sense, into the future. So yeah, that was great to see. That was great to see.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I felt it was a bit cagey at times. Both players seeming to be playing on the cautious side and not really going for the kill there. Maybe trying to take some advantage into the next game and feel each other out. So I'm looking forward to the next game. We do know that it's home and away situation, best of two matches. So we look forward to seeing the name right after we come back from this break. This is still Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nordwind Gaming, and this is the FIFA 21, and we'll see you right after this break. Yo, it is Umzansi season 3. The action is packed, it is fast paced, and just as I said that, we have to go straight back into the action because the second has already started. I leave you in the very capable hands of Snare and Actfire. Let's take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sid. And as we get right back into the game, we see that Unfaizdd almost about to score a goal and to counter and make sure they doubled up on the lead because he already has one. And Actfire was saying that we wanted to see him come out of the gate swinging, and he does that in immediate fashion. And Young Savage definitely needs the counter. Player running out on the wing, tries to go for the through ball. Still has possession though, so might still be able to get this goal. Are we going to be coming back into a straight 1-1? Doesn't seem like it, because we see that Unfaizdd is already starting to stack up that defense. It's becoming difficult again for Young Savage to pass through this. How does he get past this Actfire?
Oh my goodness. As I did say in the beginning, it did look like Unfaizdd was just studying his opponent, trying to break him down, trying to understand how he plays. And I think he just came out gun blazing in the second game. And yeah, that's definitely what we see right now. Right. So they're pushing again. Mbappe with that true ball. Ooh la la. But the defense from Fernandez just stopping that one in its tracks.
Young Savage now doesn't have any other options but to play with as much aggression as possible. The pass from Cancelo gets blocked off on the wing. Still going to be able to find its way through, but unfortunately does not lead into anything substantial. Now suddenly it's back into Unfaizdd, and we know that when he has the ball at his feet, a lot can change. Neymar, can he find these dribbles?
Mbappe with the ball.
Mbappe. There's a lot of space on the wing. Can he find the pass through? He does, but this might buy time for Young Savage. Looking for the defense.
Just with the ball, he's just basically tearing them out at this particular point in time. Neymar's with I could have changed it at any particular moment in time, but now
the speed on the ball finds the speed. Wow. Can he get the pass back? He does, but the defensive tackle coming in immediately. And this is one of the key things about Unfaizdd, right? Whenever you see him play his counter-attacking pressure, we just saw him blocking a ball, an attempt on goal, and suddenly he's back on the opponent's third, looking for a way through.
Definitely, he studied his opponent. He studied how he talks. He knows he loves. Like, one of the things I've noticed about Savage is he loves to use the speed of his players. So Faze seems like he's set up, prepared for that. Like, every single time that those true passes have come in, it seems like he's just had an answer for that. Oh my goodness!
Atal, you were speaking about the potential, but Unfaizdd is unfazed. The previous time the ball goes through, it doesn't manage to get a goal. This time around, into the feet of Atal. Beautiful goal. My goodness. Did you see that coming? I did not. It came out of nowhere.
I did not see that coming, but that's definitely what you get from these experienced players. I mean, you can definitely see, like, he studied his opponent, and a lot of these players do that, especially when they know they have like a second leg, right? You just study how he plays. You get a feel. You play sort of cautious at the beginning, and yeah, he's come out in this second game. Going for that juggler and get to the balls at the back of the net. Like this is what you want to see. Like he's going for it. He's not stopping. Yeah.
He's used the information gained in game one to come out swinging for game two. 2 goals in the bag, and it doesn't seem like he is prepared to stop. Now it has to be ball to the wall here for Young Savage, right? Not that he hasn't been trying already, but something has to give. He's been having so much difficulty. Like, he's able to get it into the final portion, but getting past that is so difficult for him. And now suddenly, will this be another one? Neymar, dispossession right after the kickoff. Already Unfaizdd looking to make this 3. Putting the game completely out of reach. Fortunately for Young Savage, he is set up defensively here. Will it be enough?
All right, so Atal,
seems like it for now.
They need to be careful of Atal right there, because he just totally got into that great position in the second goal right there, and it does look like Unfaizdd is just trying to break him down some more while keeping that possession and just whiling away time. And yeah, he could just Neymar could have just gotten. He could have just turned and just made like a cheeky one right there. He could have gotten the ball. He could have been one-on-one with the keeper and gotten that ball at the back of the net. But Savage. I would have loved to see him come out of this one with more fight. But this
Oof, he manages to get the block in the box. Man, that was actually really close. Had that not been perfectly positioned from him, Savage would have been 3 down. Now though, he's looking for the counter, running with Rafa on the wing, getting into the box. Can he find a target here? Was looking, but unfortunately Wan-Bissaka gets ahead of it, and Wan-Bissaka also forces the turnover in position with the throw-in. Fantastic defending coming in right there from Unfaizdd.
Oh, but Unfaizdd now going in with Sanchez and Henry sending a long ball to Mbappe, and this one could be really dangerous right now, but he does the turn back, and is he going to take a long shot? Sanchez is there to get that block in. Now Mbappe, back to Sanchez. Back to Ronaldo. Now Neymar. Building
to the final slowly. Carry.
Rafa's with the ball.
This is where we see Young Savage a lot, right?
Yeah.
He gets the ball here, but now it's like, now what? Because every single time he gets forced back, you even see the overlapping run from Mendy. Look how far forward he has to play. So that means he's very vulnerable to the counter-attack. Can he be exploited? João Cancelo, what a chip. Will he be run by Belaya? Fortunately, Gullit has enough pace to catch up. If he didn't catch up and the player went free there, we're probably looking at goal number 3. But fortunately, it does slow him down enough that Young Savage can still keep possession. Get it back to Mendy. All right. Look for another goal with Rafa.
Can he finally make something happen in the final third? But Rafa wasn't just able to.
Draws out Emerson, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, it wasn't all bad. I mean, he couldn't get to the ball in time just to pass or to chick it in. But now he's got Sanchez with the ball all the way to Ronaldo, and can he get that shot in? Can he?
Oh, but he's able to pass, though, gets it back into Rafa. Ooh, that was clean as hell, Young Savage. Okay, getting himself on the scoreline.
That was some hard work right there. Remember what I said in game 1. You know, he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeves. He's a very, very tricky young star, and yeah, he could provide those surprises and bring in one of those magic moments, and that's the difference between the two players. You know, you see Unfaizdd, who is more composed, you know, and then Savage, who's really dangerous with his tricks. So yeah, he's not out of this game yet. He's not out yet. He could get that equalizer and push through.
Looking for it now. With Mbappe on the wing, who's received the ball from a very nice chip ball. Spent a little bit too much time dribbling though, not forced off the ball just yet. Able to reclaim this possession. Sanchez pass down into Neymar. Whoa! Neymar has space. Neymar's got the goal. Neymar equalizes the game for Young Savage.
Whoa!
Hey, my goodness, there we go. We've got a ball game on our hands here, Aphelion.
Whoa! Now, oh my goodness. Now that's the thing I've been saying about the tricks from our dear Savage. I mean, he's gotten himself back into the game. He stepped it up. I mean, whoa, wow. You know, that's the thing about just putting your feet, you know, off the pedal. I feel like for a moment there, Unfaizdd got comfortable with his lead. I feel like he just stopped putting as much pressure as he was doing, and now he has to start all over again. Wow.
But it's difficult though to swing momentum in a game like FIFA 21 because now he's trying to find this goal, but suddenly he's the one that, despite it being just a draw, psychologically he's the one that's under pressure. He's had to deal with 2 goals effectively without answer. Can he do anything about this? Nope. Just possessed in the middle of the park. And now suddenly he looks like a man reborn on Young Savage. All of his defenders are positioning so well, but as I say that, I might have cursed them. Atal back in possession, gets the ball into Neymar. Was the scorer for Young Savage. Will he do so for Unfaizdd? Unfortunately, the defense, the goalkeeping is on point. Comes through clutch. And it keeps the game alive.
Atal. So FaZe gets him more comfortable as time begins to pass now. You can see he's just distributing the ball around. Atal's with the ball right now. Atal gets the ball back. He's alone with the keeper.
What?
Oh wow!
Is Atal just a criminal, a thief in the night?
Just look at Atal and how he gets the ball.
Just that slight touch forward. What am I seeing right now? Atal. And we were thinking just now, as you were saying, it looked like he was letting off the pressure a little bit on FaZe. Comfortable with the game just running out, but it looked like Turns out he was just not doing that. He was just setting up for the third goal as calmly as humanly possible. Now the pressure is all back onto Young Savage. Can he make it with the final play here? Mbappe gets the ball back onto Renato Sanchez. Rafa in the box. Rafa, can he find the goal? No, dispossessed at the last moment. And is that a corner or a goal kick? A goal kick to make matters worse.
Oh, damn.
Did Atal just sneak away the W at the very last minute here?
Wow.
I think he just did.
Yeah, I think he just did. Oh, my goodness. Lovely game.
Oh, my goodness.
Incredible. Exciting from the beginning to the end. So different from the first game. Wow. Amazing.
Wow. This is Unfaizdd just playing like at that level.
Guys, I literally just witnessed some amazing football just now. And you know what was very impressive for me was how both players finally decided to come out and come swinging. Seeing 5 goals in that second game, and watching the guys take it out. What was your take on? I mean, we saw 2 very distinct play styles, with the skills and somebody with sleek passing moves. Now, look, I'm sure a lot of the players that are going to be competing in this tournament watched this game today. So, I mean, Tony, I wanted to give me your breakdown of what he did in this second game that varied from what he did in the first. Sean, I'm going to come to you to break down Young Savage as well.
All right, so one of the things that I did notice that was different between the first game was Unfaizdd was, you know, he was studying his partner in game 1, and he came out all the way to attack. In game 2, you know, it just felt like it was time to just go all out. It was time to just push, not be conservative anymore. Just go for that attack, go for that goal, and yeah, that's exactly what he did. What he did.
And Young Savage.
What actually really impressed me about Young Savage was how he adapted after taking the earlier goals. Like we heard from Axfire, in game 1, he was definitely playing with more flair, more tricks were coming out of him, and he still did that in game 2, but he adapted his defense. We saw in game 1, he had a distinct lack of presence, especially the defensive midfield portion. In this game, he pushes up the line extremely high up, and he can play with that because he knows that he's keeping possession a lot of the time. He started doing this after the goals were conceded, because he realizes if he plays the same style, there's no way he comes back into the game. He makes that switch up, plays a lot more aggressively, has more time on the ball, more consideration, allows him to score 2 goals unanswered. And it looked like, honestly, he might have been able to come away with the game, if not for the fact that Unfaizdd stole it away from him. And I think Unfaizdd actually recognized that Young Savage has the somewhat higher line now, because he was able to exploit that with a very cheeky pass into Atal to get that goal. But ultimately, Young Savage, I was really impressed by the adaptation from the young player and how he was able to really go head-to-head with not just one of the best players in the country, but a former champion here in the Umzansi Esports League. So definitely somebody to watch here in Season 3.
So there we have it. After the 2 rounds of gaming in the Umzansi Season 3 FIFA football game, we have Unfaizdd winning 3-2 over Young Savage. As we take a look at the standings after the game, there we see Unfaizdd topping the leaderboard with 3 points after 1 match. He's got 1 win, 0 draws and 0 losses. I'm going to be very excited about what's going to come up next in this amazing tournament. Now, Stan, I'm going to ask you one question. For you, what would you say was one of your best moments in this match that we just witnessed?
That last goal was not supposed to happen, right? But Unfaizdd, for me, one of the reasons I love seeing that is Unfaizdd sort of made a career out of this, pulling victories out of complete disaster or situations that are not supposed to happen, where you take your eye off the ball for 1 second. In a similar vein, Akfire was talking about how Unfaizdd sort of let the gas go just before he conceded the second goal. But Unfaizdd is Unfaizdd, and he can concede that second goal, wait until minute 87 before finding a key pass to score a cheeky goal and win the game. And if you ask him, he'd tell you, all according to plan, bro. Everything is fine. I know exactly what I was doing.
According to plan, that has to be a different level of confidence. Now, Tony, what would be your advice looking at how the first 2 games have gone? What would your advice advice for the rest of the players in the standings? Obviously, now we see that Young Savage is down at the bottom of the league, obviously only after one game. But what would your advice be to players? Do as these players did, which is relax and be cautious, and then go all out in the second game, or try to build a healthy lead in the first game?
I think definitely it's try to build a healthy lead in the first game, go all out. Being conservative might affect you. I do understand trying to study your opponent, but sometimes just play your game. I feel like if Savage came out with, his game in the, in the first game, I mean, he would have, he might have gotten 1 or 2 goals. He might have upset Unfaizdd and then gone into the second game with probably a lead. So I feel
In a
I feel
more
like you
relaxed
have
position,
nothing to
yeah.
lose. Yeah, you have nothing to lose. Just go all out, play your game, focus on your strengths and not the enemy's weaknesses. Yeah.
There we have it from Tony, aka Axfire. He says, "Go all out, focus on your strengths and not your opponent's weaknesses." This is Umzansi Esports League Season 3. We've just had the first 2 games of the FIFA tournament. We will be right back after this break with more action from Umzansi. My name is Dr. Sid. I'm here with Sean, aka Snare, and Tony, aka Axfire. We'll be right back.
Woo! I go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Umzansi Esports League Season 3. My name is Dr. Sid, hailing all the way from West Africa, Nigeria, and I'm here with two amazing people that are going to be helping me bring to you some of the best esports action in PUBG Mobile on the African continent. I'm here with Bradford Patchy, Crofton Ball, and Esmery Esprugzy Swat. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys feeling today?
Feeling good.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. It's like getting into the season. We're ready to rumble. It was a crazy previous season. I'm really hoping that we at least keep that energy going into this season, and hopefully we could see some crazy stuff from the teams.
So I'm super excited because Battle Royales is one of my most favorite sports to play, and PUBG Mobile is literally taking the world by storm. And I'm glad to see that Africa is definitely we're putting ourselves on the map as competitive competitors in the PUBG Mobile. Now today it's Umzansi Season 3. Let's take a look at what is up for grabs for these teams in this tournament. Patchy?
All right, well, let's have a look at that. Season 3 prize pool, $17,000, 500 of course, and then that's split between the PUBG Mobile and the FIFA 21 section, so that's $15,000 for the PUBG and $2,500 for FIFA 21. That is a very nice pool right there. Definitely, I mean, if you're not involved in this, if you're not getting your team up on those games, man, you're missing out.
Yeah, and I'm super excited because PUBG Mobile, we have 32 teams split and divided into 4 groups of 8 teams each. The top 24 teams from the overall leaderboard move into the semifinals. Yes, just being corrected, we have 30 teams divided into 4 groups of 8 teams each. And like I said, the top 24 teams from the overall leaderboards move into the semifinals. Now, let's take a look at the team list competing in Umzansi Season 3's PUBG Mobile.
All right, let's have a look.
We've got a couple teams that we've seen before here, Patchy. You want to take us through some of our Season 2 champions, some of our wonderful favorites that we've seen time and time again?
Well, I mean, obviously it's Group A versus B tonight. So starting with Group A, we've got Ultra 6, Aphelion Apex, we got Blank Legion, we got Fear, we got Black Clover, we got Undisputed AE, and Spaza 6. Some names returning from the previous season, of course, those being, for instance, Black Clover, Undisputed AE, Spaza 6, Ultra 6, Blind Legion. We're seeing some of those returning names once again. So let's see if they can bring some of that returning success. And then, of course, moving into Group B, Influence, Rage, Africa, we've got Zero Tolerance Skills, we've got BBC, we've got Immortalz, G3 Temper, we've got Not Gaming, and we've got Rainbow Six Madagascar. So some big names here in Group B as well. My eyes are over towards G3 Temper, maybe. And, of course, BBC, a team that I personally really enjoy watching. Definitely one of those teams that they always bring something new to the table. And then, of course, moving on to Group C, Gamers, United Nations, we got Lag Esports, we got the Comfy Cartel, we got Pain Africa, the Drogons, of course, Nibble Esports, we got the Natural Killers and Toxic Esport coming in here. Of course, some more familiar names for those who've been following the seasons. Of course, Gun, big name, and of course, Nibble Esports as well, some big names in the groups. Moving on to Group D, we've got the Outsiders Official, Rain from Hell, Citizens Gaming, we've got Sincerity Esports, Euphoric Gods, we've got Slime 4KT, we've got YT, and we've got NFX Unique. So some more returning names, of course, Citizens. We got Slime 4KT, who did make it up into 2nd place in the previous season. So once again, some more heavy hitters. Of course, we've got the Outsiders and NFX Unique. So plenty of those returning names coming through for fans of those particular teams. Hopefully, they'll not be disappointed as we progress. I'm very keen to get started in the season. There's some teams that definitely need to start bringing some fire back from those previous seasons.
Well, I'm super excited because my esports team is definitely competing today. That's Citizens Gaming, represents Nigeria. So I'm fingers crossed for them. Wish I could influence it, but obviously I can't. I'm just here to talk about the amazing Umzansi Esports League. I'm going to wish all these teams the best of luck, because as I have seen, the Umzansi Esports League gets really competitive. Let's talk about some of the things that we expect from some of these teams in this tournament.
Well, yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, we've got A and B heading off today. We've got a couple of the teams and a couple of the names actually from the previous season winnings, our top 6 coming through today. So, I mean, we mentioned a couple of them. We mentioned Slime 4KT obviously making it second, but also for today's matches, we've got BBC and, of course, we've got Tempo, who were your 6th and 5th teams, respectively, from the previous season. So they're obviously looking to, bump up the squads a little bit, bump up the numbers a little bit better this season around. So it's actually quite interesting. We were talking about it a little bit off camera. I mean, to see some of these teams, I remember starting season 1 and seeing these lineups, seeing these names that I fell in love with, mostly BBC, because I kept finding them on a boat somewhere on the beautiful maps. It was a fantastic scene to see. But yeah, the competitive level that we see these PUBG teams going at, I mean, we've really had a treat to watch, and Apache can of course attest to that with our dear friend Casters coming through. It's insane to see how quickly these teams improve and how quickly they bounce right back after not getting the chicken dinner. They're right there and they're fighting for it. That top 5 is always a little bit of a question mark for me. So it's going to be interesting tonight. We're definitely going to set the tone for season 3.
So one of the things I also like to let our viewers know and everybody watching right now is that the Umzansi Esports Leagues is like the upper end. And some people will be wondering how teams actually make it into the Umzansi Esports League. And I want to tell them that there's something called the Inkosi Super Cup. I did say that right. The Nkosi Super Cup. So basically, the Nkosi Super Cup is where clans, leagues, and esports teams get to compete. It's sort of like a league system, like a lower league system. And when you progress through the Nkosi Super Cup, you get to qualify into the Umzansi Esports League. So I want to advise anyone out there who's interested in esports, interested in gaming, if you want to be part of some of these teams competing in the Umzansi Esports League brought to you by Nordwind Gaming, make sure you look out for the Nkosi Super Cup and get your team registered. Patchy, I want to ask, obviously you know some of the teams returning from last season. Which one of the teams are you aware of? Some of the teams that have just literally been promoted into the Umzansi Esports League, and do you know any of those teams? Did you watch them in the Nkosi Super Cup? Anybody we should be looking out for?
So I don't actually know any particular team that's making it up from the Nkosi Super Cup, because a lot of the time we have teams moving in, changing names. So there's a lot of names that I haven't seen before.
Actually, I can save you from this, don't you?
Yeah,
worry.
there's a lot of question marks here. But before we get into that, because this is actually something that's really, really interesting. Previously, in the previous season, we had our challenger teams be teams that came from the Nkosi Super Cup. So I don't even want to say, let's just watch, let's watch one particular Nkosi Super Cup team. Let's watch all the Nkosi Super Cup teams, because they might just have some shining diamonds in the rough and come and give us all a surprise like they did in the previous season. So my fingers are just, totally away from this one. Let's just see what they can do, because they always mix up the bottle. It's always something different, because the Umzansi, like you said, it's sort of the upper echelon, but that also means it's sort of like a system that is isolated from the rest of it. So sometimes they can get a little bit lazy. So when the Nkosi Super Cup comes up, they really give them a run for their money.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen, make sure you follow Nordwind Gaming on all our socials to get every single bit of information that you need to be part of this amazing community that's pushing esports on the continent. Registrations are open, so definitely right now, check out all the information is out there. Now, I personally have a vested interest in this because I want to see the best. And every time I come out and relate with the guys from Nordwind Gaming, we always have amazing talent being shown on a global stage. And I'm super excited that African esports athletes get an opportunity to showcase what they can do on a stage like this and be able to compete with the best of the best in the world. Now, Patrick, very quickly, and I know I like coming back to you, but I want to say, if you were going to pick, today we have Group A versus Group. If you were going to pick a team to get winner chicken dinner today, who would it be?
Oh, a team to get it? Ah, man, I don't know who I think is gonna get it, but I know who I would like to see get it. I would definitely like to see a team like, for instance, BBC grab this one. They're definitely a team that I think it's always fun to see them picking up the wins. So I think if there was a team that I would like to see pick that up, I think it would definitely be that.
Esmery, what about you? Who's your pick for today?
I'm gonna put it on the challenges. I'm gonna put it in our Incorsi teams that are coming up. You know, they're looking to make a showing for themselves. They're looking to make a name. So to shout out a few of them, Ultra 6, you know, Blank Legion, Black Clover coming up. They're from the Incorsi Super Cup from the previous season. They worked hard. They got their spots, and now they're looking to take their first chicken dinner. Is that going to be tonight? I don't know, but I want to put my money on them. I want to see the challengers coming up and making a big statement tonight.
So as we say in Nigeria, we have a very popular slang that says, you know, people come into places and decide to shake tables. So we're trying to see who's going to be shaking up the table in the Umzansi Season 3 as we are jumping into our first map, which is Erangel, if I said that properly. My name is Dr. Sid. I'm going to be leaving you in the very capable hands of Patchy and Esmery. You guys take it away and let's enjoy some amazing esports action. See you guys after the first game.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. And well, yeah, it is Erangel. We are moving on. It's the good old Erangel map, just the tried and true, the trusted, the ever popular. Of course, you know, this is just like classic PUBG map right here. But I'm actually interested to hear you mention, for instance, I think it was it Black Clover that you mentioned you wanted to see coming up in here? That's actually a team that I do remember watching and casting some games on, and they did manage to shake some things up. So maybe they can do it again here on the stage here on this season, this brand spanking new season, Season 3 of the Umzansi Esports League. So let's get this done here. It comes south to north. Flight path going down there from just to the side of the military base all the way up to the northwest. So we've got our drops, and yeah, all of the teams going to hit their spots. We're going to wait for that zone to come down as well, and it does look like that zone is going to be on towards the western side of the map, which is where the majority of the teams are located. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have an easy start or a comfortable start, which means that we have two options from here. Either we see a lot of fighting or we see no fighting at all for a really long time. And of course, you already know what I want to see. I want to see a bunch of fighting, because when you get a free zone like this and you don't have to worry about it, oh man, that's the best time to start a fight.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, there's a lot of nerves now running. It's the first day of Season 3, you know, for a lot of these teams, as we mentioned, the challenger teams, the teams returning from the previous seasons, they want to make sure that they make their stand tonight. They want to, you know, start it off on a good foot. I mean, we still have a lot of maps coming up. We've got 3 for tonight, and then, of course, the rest of Season 3. So, you know, Patch, we were talking about it a little bit off camera. You know, we talked about consistency. We talked about those points. I mean, you know, granting, you know, those kills, all those fights, that does give you a little bit of extra, you know, points on the scoreboard. But of course, we talk about placements. So the zone is obviously just, it's such a nice zone to start off with for a lot of these teams. I mean, as you said, it's a free zone. It's not too bad in terms of, you know, rotations for most of the teams, especially the way that it dropped. So I do want to understand a little bit of something here. For a lot of the teams coming through now, would you say it's better to go, you know, try and take out as many teams as possible, or do you prefer just playing for those placement points? What do you think? Obviously, we love to see the action, but from a team, you know, from a strategy point of view, what would you say? What's your focus going to be?
All right, well, if you want to take my sort of personal opinion about this matter slightly back and maybe take it from a more objective standpoint, let's sort of work with the options here. So you obviously, like we said, there's two ways you get the points. So you get the placements and you get the kill points. Now, with the Umzansi formatting, kills give you 1 point, which is actually huge. That is a massive, massive deal, because unlike a lot of other formats, getting that kill could definitely change the game. We have seen it where teams have performed positionally very well, but the difference in kill points actually changes the game. We've seen the challengers, the runner-ups, for instance, coming in maybe second place, and in terms of position points, sure, they come in second place, but those kill points boost them all the way up. I mean, if you have double the kill points of the team above you, for sure you're going to go straight above them. You know, that's just how it works. So the balance between those two is very, very important. And we see that a lot of teams have their different play styles, but the teams that can get that balance really, really well are the ones that excel. We have teams that are really good at positioning and surviving for a really long time, but they don't get as many kills. And we have some other teams that are really good at getting kills, but they don't necessarily get the positions they want, which can also be detrimental. Then you have a team, for instance, performing like Season 1 or Season 2 Godsend Temper, back under that banner when Temper was just absolutely smashing it. Their positioning was beautiful. They knew exactly where to be. They knew exactly how to get where they wanted to be, but they also managed to kill just about everyone doing it. And that was the big thing. That was why they were sitting at the top for so long. So if you want to take it from a strategic standpoint, I think right now it's day one, it's the new season, it's fresh, it's new. Don't play it safe. I don't think that right now is the best time to play it safe. I personally would try and go out and maybe be a little bit more aggressive and see what I can get away with against these teams. And I say get away with specifically for the reason of these teams are still testing the waters right now. It's a new season. There's been a little bit of an off time. They still need to see how one another reacts. They need to test, poke each other with a stick and see what happens.
And as we mentioned, you know, it's Season 3 first day. We've had a lot of teams come in. We've had 10 teams actually come up from the Incorsi Super Cup. So naturally, you know, especially with a couple of the teams, you know, changing potentially rosters, changing up, you know, how they're playing, I definitely agree with you that today I don't want to see teams playing safe. I want to see talking about contention, here it is already going down, and my goodness gracious, it looks like Black Legion is making a name for themselves today, taking the first fight already, and the shots just raining through, damage being pelted left, right, and center. And now it's the question mark of who is going to be surviving this fight. And of course, you know, Erangel's quite a big map. It's not as much of a concern as we see on Sanhok, but we did see quite a couple of points of contention on the map with teams dropping. I mean, you had quite a lot of teams there towards Hospital and Georgia Pool, and quite a few coming through from the military base. So those contention spots are definitely going to prove problematic for teams now stuck in a fight. You've already got 2 down. Still trying to get that recovery going, and we've got a couple of cars coming through, so it's going to be an interesting one here to see if Blank Legion can get out of it and if they might be able to run away with the first couple of those kills that we were talking about.
Yeah, this was actually an interesting move. Blank Legion did a really good job of driving a wedge in between Fear, but now Fear have gone on the offensive. They have decided to just drive straight on in and challenge him. Here we've got Hulk, a little bit lower on HP, Bob on the other side challenging here, but Hulk's actually going to return back to go for the revive, which he needs to do very, very quickly. Otherwise, his teammate will go down, and Bob actually going to go down to a nade. That is probably going to be the end of everything that they were trying to do here. That wedge has, well, it's just been effectively removed here, and Fear should be able to revive their team. Just look at that HP. That is a tiny sliver of HP still remaining, but he manages to get there in time. The res will come through, and that is the end for Blank Legion's attempt to take that fight. So what started as a pretty decent attempt there by Blank Legion, because they did a really good job, like I said, of driving a wedge through. They caught, I think it was King on the other side, and they got him down. They spotted him out. That was Bob, took him down. And Fear were caught on the other side of the ridge. They had to try and make something happen, but instead of sitting on that hill and trying to take the long range fight and the long engagement, they actually just drove straight up. They're like, you know what, we're going to get up in your grill, right up in your face. We're going to challenge you and see what happens. And well, it worked out for them. They managed to chop the head off, and Blank Legion are now left with only 2 out of their 4 remaining players.
You know, this is what we were talking about. See what you can get away with, and that's exactly what I'm seeing a lot of these teams do. I'm glad that they're not backing off from this fight. They shouldn't be. There's no reason to. I mean, you have an opportunity to obviously get yourselves a couple of points. You've got Fear now with that extra kill points. You've got another team running away with one of the other knocks on Blank Legion. Whether or not they got that res off, we'll have to see later on. But that's what we want to see. We want to see teams, you know, testing the waters, you know, figuring out their groups, especially, you know, getting ideas about the next. And we've got some rotations already coming through. Whether or not those are going to end up in some fun time little fights there, we'll have to see. And, you know, Patchy, we mentioned this. You know, the first time I saw BBC, I remember they jumped into a boat, they took the long rotate around and ended up in the zone, and it really didn't end well for them. So I'm hoping BBC are going to get those rotations out quickly, because if I have another zone BBC death, I don't think I'll be okay with this. Ooh, as we're talking about contention, oh no! We've got some fights going down already.
Yeah, that is happening all the way towards the east. And I'll tell you what, speaking of BBC, this is what we see them do all the time. They head over to Mill to Power if they can, and they just sit there, and that's exactly what they're doing now. So it's good to see a familiar face with some familiar tactics there, just chilling, giving us what we know they love to do. I love these guys. It doesn't matter whether they come first or last, in my opinion. BBC are always fun to watch. Right now, they're getting in a little bit of a tussle, though. Coco and the rest of Spaza getting up in the grill here, trying to do a little bit of a car chase. We'll see if that comes to any fruition at the moment, as Lord just sort of zooms across the map and tries to escape. Of course, that blue zone is moving in as well, so they do have to make the rotation up. We did see a couple of shots getting exchanged here. You can see on the map, UAE, of course, making a couple of hits in towards Spaza, and now BBC also making the rotate. BBC is very much separated, but we see that happen sometimes just based on the way they like to play sometimes, so that is not all that strange. What is going to be interesting, though, is, of course, these battles that are very much happening in the vehicles. Right here, we've got some more vehicle battles going on. Just some shots being exchanged, some fire going down in all directions, which is great. I like to see this activity. They're just hopping in, they're seeing what they can find on the map, getting a little bit active, not being static. So that is definitely an interesting change up from last season, where we did see a lot of the slower play coming through.
I mean, you mentioned it, right? We had the reign of temper in those first couple of seasons. I think it was actually season 1, especially. That's the biggest one that I remembered. You know, temper constantly had that bullseye on their back because they were just getting such amazing placement points, as you mentioned, but also the amount of kills. They were so active, and they were actively seeking for those extra little bit of points. And you were talking about fights, and now the cars have stopped and the guns have come out so far. A lot of damage being dealt. I think one has just been knocked. Sully going crazy. A little bit of return fire there. And on the other side, we've also got Temper actually making a bit of an exchange. Oh, no. BBC, Lord, another nade. Are we serious? Spaza Gaming bringing out the nades on the other side of the map. Oh, this is turning out to quite an active map, as we mentioned. So, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of teams drop. We're already down below the 50-member mark. We might be seeing a lot less sooner or later.
Yeah, at the moment, I believe the Influence Rage is the team that we're seeing here get under a little bit of fire. At the moment, they are not exactly having the high ground, which is potentially a problem, depending on how the team up here, I believe, is this Rainbow Six? It might be. I'm not sure. Or no, this is Zero Tolerance Skills. Yeah, that's it. It's Zero Tolerance Skills.
Tolerance. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I saw Vortex there.
Yeah, so that was definitely a bit of a tough situation to be in. So definitely Influence Rage making the right call here, just rotating off the point. So let's take a little bit of a stock of what we've got going on here. The map, of course, has shrunk, or so should I say, the zone has shrunk, gotten a little bit smaller. Of course, in it towards the west. So we're waiting for the next one to show its face. Whether it's going to take these players for a ride or not is the question. We've got 14 teams and 49 players remaining. So we've lost a couple, but not that many just yet. We haven't seen a team go out either. So we still have quite a few teams in this space. And that does mean we're going to have quite the show on our hands, Sproxy, because all of these teams are now going to have to start squishing up together, get it nice and cozy, and hopefully that will mean that we see a lot of fights, especially now considering the zone, as you can see right here on the screen, up in towards the Georgia Paul area and hospital, which does mean all of these teams are going to have to rotate in, which means they'll be coming in from the south and the east. And, well, that concentration of players always leads to some lovely fighting.
I think a lot of teams are busy kicking themselves in the back because we had such high contention there in Georgia Pool and Hospital from the beginning, as soon as all the teams dropped. Then, of course, you know, they rotated off after they got their loot and they were busy, you know, spreading out across the map, taking those fights. And now they have to just turn around and go right back to where they started because the zone has reared its ugly head and told you, no, come right back, thank you very much. But yeah, it's interesting. We've had so many teams, you know, we've had so many players, sorry, being dropped, but not a single team has been dropped, you know, so we've got a lot of teams, you know, sitting on that 1 to 2 player ratios right now versus still quite a few, you know, with the full stats and full members still in hand, healthy, and hopefully happy with their rotations currently. So it started off extremely active, and now as the rotations are coming through, I think a lot of teams are like, oof, okay, hold on, let's get some positioning out here, because as we can see, the rest of these teams or the rest of the players have the exact same thought as we do, that we want to test out the waters, we want to get some kills, we want to be active, we want to be quite aggressive as well. So we've got a little bit of rotations coming through now. We've got Temper here. Nice little bit of an angle here. Some high ground, some shots already coming through. But as we switch off, we might be seeing a little bit more contention coming through. Because, yeah, I mean, if you looked at those rotations, they're all going to run into each other at some point, whether that's going to be, you know, by Ruins or Gatka, depending on where they're coming from. Or I don't think we really had anyone there towards Severny, but there's a lot of contention and there's not a lot of bridges to get them over there if they're coming through from the north side. Spaza Gaming already down one. Ooh, what happened?
Ooh, okay, so we've got a lot of funneling going on right now. All of the teams moved up towards the south, so all of them approaching from the south right now. It is an absolute cluster. I'm not going to finish that word. It is a cluster happening right now towards the southern portion of
How
the
dare you
available
tease such a
play
thing?
Area.
How dare
All
you
I'm going to
tease
say
such a
about that
word?
is that it is chaotic happening at the moment. There's going to be a lot of gunfire, and it's not going to stop because, of course, we know that zone does not stop either. So the fire is coming through. Here's Chris putting the shots in. Black Clover taking a little bit of damage. Of course, Temper has positioned themselves up towards the top. Spaza taking a whole lot of damage. That is a huge loss there. Dagger putting some shots in as well. Fear getting hit. And then, of course, we've got this team here chilling in the house, making sure that they lock it down. And this might be a Rainbow Six, so I think I'm getting that one right for this time around. We'll see BBC, of course, in the line of sight as well. Chris just going ham at the moment. He does not care. He's just putting the shots in to every single person that comes into the sites. The zone has moved up towards the north as well. And that is unfortunately a very much a large body of water sitting in there because it's slap bang on the middle of the Georgia Pole Bridge. So, yeah, that is a very difficult one to be on. We've got Chris yeeting himself into oblivion. So we finally have our christening for the match, throwing themselves out of cars just the way we like it, PUBG style.
Yeah, just we'll give him the cars a wash.
Yeah,
they're a little bit dirty.
Flinging
Erangel's
yourself up.
Erangel's a little dusty, man. You know, you gotta wash the cars. So I mean, we've got G3 here, Temper now rotating off, finding a couple of potential victims, as these car chases are just getting more and more sporadic and more chaotic, and now the fights are really on. Vortex coming through, trying to just rotate around, trying to find the angles here, but Temper there looking for the fights, and he's going to take down one, looking for more. Gunner going to be going down as well, so far equal trades. Oh, who's going to be coming out of this, and are we going to be seeing our first team wipe? That is the question on my mind right now, Apache.
That is indeed the question. So, of course, Temper doing what they do, making sure they get some positioning here, trying to put some shots over towards the surrounding teams. But as I said, this is an absolute crazy situation. You can see the teams taking up residence in all of these buildings here. And I mean, this is all they've got. We have gotten ourselves into a situation where the zone has forced that good old CQC. And that does mean that things are going to be played just a little bit different, and the team's now scrambling to try and get inside. We've got Blank Legion rolling on up, but punishment is being doled out by the dozen here. Rambo getting hit hard, and the rest of the teams trying to make their way across that line are just getting absolutely hammered here. You can see the crosshairs facing in every single direction. Here's Darkness putting those shots on, and that Mini 14 doing the damage. Dagger goes down in the meantime. Of course, Rambo getting taken out as well. Law hits the deck. There's so much damage being done. Those Mini 14s are just absolutely tearing it up. Detective goes down. BBC on the back end of some really tough situations here, just struggling to stay alive. We've got Black Clover just to the side of them as well here on your screen. Of course, we've got UAE all the way towards the western portion of the playable area. And I mean, we did have a team attempting to go across that bridge, but that is a dangerous play to make. There is no cover there. And you can see, well, they just decided to back off of that one. So they are just camping in these houses, setting up the long tents, setting up the braais, ready to sit and wait this one out. And I'm interested to see who's going to pull the trigger first, because that is just going to start one hell of a chain reaction.
We have 13 teams and 37 players alive right now. They've just been dropping one by one. We only had one team wipe, and it might have, I'm standing corrected here, but it might have been Blank Legion, because I still saw BBC, you know, hitting some shots at least, so they still have at least a member.
Yeah, Blank
live,
Legion
as you can see there. Yeah, so that's unfortunate now. Our first little team wipe, but It's insane. You were talking about a cluster, you were talking about chaos. I'm looking at the minimap right now, and all I'm seeing is teams shoulder to shoulder, of course, in their respective buildings, looking for the shot that they can find, looking for that potential opener to take another team out of the count. And of course, that zone's going to be closing in soon. In 30 seconds, a lot of teams are going to make some very awkward rotations. Look at, you were saying half of your zone is dedicated to bridge and water space. That is horrible. Man, the zone is just not having a good day today. It has decided to take all of its feelings out on our players right now. And as we mentioned, there's a lot of awkward rotations coming through here. I mean, a lot of these, as we're looking at now, we've got Ultra 6 in the middle of nowhere, and their path to freedom, their path to safety is through an open field. You know, in the crosshairs of a lot of the teams that we're sitting here, I think BBC might want to be one of the closest to them. And they're well aware that they're surrounded. They're well aware that they can maybe just wait for Ultra 6 to come through, take a couple of kills, maybe get a couple of, as I say that, they actually find a member there of Black Clover. So a lot of these teams are either going to be sitting and playing the waiting game, get a couple of kills before they rotate in, and that's just unfortunate. I mean, the zone is really just, not a happy one today, Patchy, not a happy one.
Yeah, it is not. There are no freebies here in Umzansi right now. Cole getting taken out by the play zone. How unfortunate. Coming in 0, hitting the deck as the Not Gaming squad moving straight on in for the kill. Rainbow Six, of course, on your screen here, trying to keep the chaos from spilling over, but can you truly ever do that? I am not sure. No Rain is actually going to get taken down as Immortalz rushing up to absolutely lay siege, as this zone is ridiculously small, the play area ridiculously small, half of it's water, you can't play on water, so you just got to sit on the coastline and hope you can land your shots, and that's exactly what these teams are doing right now, just throwing those shots right across the board, and suddenly we didn't have any teams, and now all of it, team after team, is getting sent right back to that lobby. Explosions across the board, darkness hitting the deck as the Immortalz get raided. Right now, all of the teams clustered on that coastline, just trying to lay down the fire. At the moment, we've got 9 teams and 22 players left alive, and those numbers are going down every single moment as all of these teams just try their best to stay alive. It's such a tough situation, but this is exactly what we needed to start off the season. No freebies and no easy games. This is the pressure we need right from the beginning to squeeze the performance out of these teams.
You know, we've got Influence Reg Africa, and we've got Immortalz, you know, closest to the bridge right now. So they're sitting pretty in terms of rotations. They can just sit and wait. They just have the scopes, they've got the guns, they've got the positioning, and hopefully they've got some consumables, you know, to get that HP up and happy. But they can just sit and wait. They're happy in the zone with, you know, their neighbors here that we're looking at. So it's, again, I can't believe how horrible the zone ended up being. So now we've got an absolute chaotic little zone just at the bottom there of George Pool. We've got Black Clover trying to rotate in, and I'm seeing dots disappearing, and I'm seeing team numbers dropping. So we are down to 7 teams that are going to be fighting it out, and I might see a couple of fights there. You know, got Rainbow Six towards the outside of the zone, taking a couple of fights here. Oh, this might be interesting to see. It's crazy to see how many of the teams are down to so little members, you know, with those rotations coming through. And ultimately, looking at it now, 17's left, 20 members. So this might be an interesting little bit of an end of zone. We still got quite a few, you know, in the small area.
Yeah, I mean, it is really, really difficult to play in these situations, but these high-pressure situations are what we play for at the end of the day. These are the true moments where the teams are tested and they have to show us what they're made of, and right now the shots coming through. You can see Vexation is hitting the deck. So, yeah, at the moment, as you said, 7 teams remaining. Of course, we've got Undisputed AE, we've got Spaza 6, we've got Influence Rage, we've got Zero Tolerance Skills, we've got the Immortalz, the Not Gaming Squad, and of course Rainbow Six. And here come the shots. Zeus gonna go down. Not Gaming Squad getting raided, but here it is. Snarra putting the shots in. Kage making it happen. Can he find the kills though? He's going in for some of the thirsts, and the damage has already been done. Can he finish off is the question. Here comes the shots. Not landing them just yet. He has to just find the hits. Not landing just yet, but so can be said for the other player on that side. They know they could potentially resurrect their teammates, but that's it. What a third party coming straight across Undisputed AE, just shutting those hopes and dreams straight down. And that is the name of the game. That is the way that this game happens. It is just too bad to see them go. But there it is. The shots coming through, just taking those names right off the board. 6 teams remaining now. And of course, those numbers are only going to go down. Man, oh man, who are going to be the top 3 teams? That is the question. If we're going to see a situation with top 3 teams.
Potentially. I mean, Aphelion and Apex, they did so well there. Kagi, I mean, he got 3 players. I think he got 3 players down, maybe 2. There was 1 member remaining. That damage coming through, that third party. Oh, just a horrible situation. You got Immortalz now chucking nades into people's houses. That's extremely rude. Man, oh man. Just, how dare you? How dare you,
It's a welcome home gift.
How dare thee? But still 4 members remaining for Immortalz, so they're sitting pretty, they're sitting happy. They've got a pretty good position right now. Not going to have to worry about rotating just yet, whereas if I'm looking at this nice little building that's housing Rainbow Six and what I believe is Not Gaming is going to be an interesting one. The move-out policy on this one's going to be a little bit tough.
Yeah, it certainly will be, and these teams, of course, have to be quite careful now. You know, we really have, these teams have been thrown into the deep end when it comes to the zone, but it is squeezing some really good performances out of them right now. Of course, you can see Stone trying to make those shots across towards the Immortalz, trying to land them just through the cracks, but isn't going to find anything solid just yet. These teams need to be very, very cautious, though, because some of them still have to move in. Darkness going to find a hit on towards Coco, and this actually might be a little bit of a beginning for some of the punishment as the zone starts to creep up on these teams. You can hear the fire just starting to absolutely light up. You can hear it just echoing in through this tiny, tiny zone. But still, 5 teams remaining, and they're all squished up together, but Darkness will find that thirst and just add an extra check mark to his kill list.
Man, Immortalz, they're really quite happy right now. They still have all 4 of their members, and if you look at the rest of the teams, I mean, Spaza Gaming right now down to 1 member, also again in an open field and with an awkward rotation ahead of them. Oh, I don't even want to look at it. Hopefully, you know, the rest of them are not looking at him. You know, no, just stop looking there. Just stop looking there. Look somewhere else, please. We want to get those rotations coming in. We've got 5 teams remaining. We still got absolutely everyone in whatever building and whatever cover that they could find. Of course, some better than others, some with better positions. And Not Gaming now, they still got, oh no, Spaza Gaming going out as Darkness finds that last remaining bullet, the last angle needed to take them out. So at top 4, here we are. And, I mean, we've got Immortalz. We've got quite a few teams there just towards the other side. Actually, this is going to be an interesting one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we just saw Darkness quickly jump down, grab that level 3 and the AWM, and getting ready to hammer some damage, some hurt into the opposition here, which is definitely what we might just start seeing happen, depending on how this one plays out, because now 4 teams. We've got the zone just so minuscule that you can't even see where it is. It seems to be slightly down towards the south, maybe east, no, southwest. These teams basically already inside, but zero tolerance skills, Rainbow Six, they need to make their way across that line, which might be a little bit uncomfortable because it could be a bit exposed. So they really have to pick their moment. They've got to get that util going. They've got to make sure that they do not have any stops. They've got to pull out all of the stops in what they're about to do now, because it is going to be tough, and it's all in everything or nothing right now for these teams. And as you said, Immortalz, of course, with a really good position with all of their players still alive.
Oh, Not Gaming. They're trying to get out of here. The smoke's been popped. But Rainbow Six, they're looking for it. You can see the players on there taking out one of the members there of Rainbow Six. More fights, more bullets going into everyone's chest. Immortalz also taking a couple of beatings, down 1 member, as well as Rainbow Six now losing the players to the play zone. Same can be said there for Not Gaming. So now we're suddenly down to 3 teams. We've got a couple of players down. And now the question remains, who's going to be finding that angle? Who's going to be sitting pretty at the top so far? Darkness once again putting in more shots. This man's been absolutely critical to Immortalz' success right now. There's only 2 teams remaining, and it looks like Immortalz are going to be running away with your first map. Happy at the top. Look at that Darkness sitting there with 8 kills. That man was insane.
12 kills for Immortalz to start the season off. The first game and the first map here on Erangel looking absolutely nuts. And Zero Tolerance Skills moving into that second position with 9 kills. And then, of course, Not Gaming sitting with a nice 5 kills there. So that is quite a performance coming out there for the Immortalz to start game 1 off with a very solid performance towards the end. They managed to keep all their players, which is quite impressive. And that's actually something that we've seen these teams start to do a lot more of, especially coming in towards the end of the previous season. They became really, really capable with this because it is critical. If you have the man advantage right at the end, you can see what a difference it makes. You can play a little bit more, you know, for the trades, a little bit more aggressive. So, I mean, yeah, what a game to start it off.
That was just super exciting. Like, I was literally on the edge of my seats all the way to the end there. I mean, that zone, what was that? And, you know, there was a lot of camping, everybody setting up. I mean, I looked at it, I was like, if on the other side of that bridge, where would I end up? Super shout out to the winner of the first game in Umzansi Season 3, Group A versus Group B. And that was the Immortal, I think.
It was the Immortalz to take that chicken.
Excuse my vocals right there. Esme, what was the highlight of that game for you?
Man, oh man. I mean, I do want to just shout out Fear way in the beginning there, you know, turning around and taking the fight, getting your teammates, going for the rescue and making it work. I mean, I think they gave, it was Black Legion, I think, that, you know, got a bit of a surprise. Tried to go for the early kill there, and instead they lost a member or two. So shout out to Fear, of course. You know, they went for the rescue mission. I applaud that. I'm happy with that. But Immortalz, man, oh man, Darkness. What is that man eating? What is his setup? Like, what is he doing? He was insane. He got 8 kills all by himself. Just like chilling.
Pachi, what would the highlight be for you?
You know, I've got to say that probably the highlight of that entire game was the point where the zone decided to go north again towards the bridge and just really shove all of the teams in towards the south. Just watching everyone scrambling to get inside the zone, trying to shove themselves inside the nearest house they could get, and just watching everything disintegrate. The rules of engagement, the strategy, everything just fall away, and it's just chaos, and it's just fighting, and it's dying, and it's, yeah, it was great.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is still the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you by Nodwing Gaming. We've just had an amazing game of PUBG Mobile. I'm here, Dr. Sid, with Pachi and Esmery, and we'll be right back to the break with more action. Nate.
Whoa. That's looking a little bit scary.
Kid, we need you.
I'm here. Wait. I am here.
You are here.
I think. Yes, there we go. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Umzansi Esports League. This is season 3, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming. Please tell me I'm not frozen.
You're not frozen.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we are back. It is amazing. We've just had the first game, the PUBG Mobile tournament. It is looking lit. We had the Immortalz take that one. And I must say, it was, for me, it was about the circle. Do you know what I mean? Like, that circle just closed in the most interesting of ways. Patchy, what are we expecting on our new map in Game 2, Sanhok? What kind of strategy are these teams going to be putting out on this new map?
Well, the first thing is, obviously, things change up quite a bit when you shrink things down to the size of Sanhok specifically. And usually when we talk about Sanhok, we move from a sort of big strategic gameplay to a more CQC style tactical gameplay, a lot of quick on the feet decisions. And it's very contrasting. Right in the beginning of the game, you can strategically position, perhaps, but once that zone gets going, we know exactly what happens. It does not slow down, and it feels like it's on your tail all the time. It just speeds up again and again and again, and it's like chasing your heels. You cannot lag behind. You cannot get stuck. I mean, if you trip, if your team trips up, if you make a mistake somewhere, that zone punishes you very, very quickly. So you really have to think on your feet. You have to think quickly. You have to position well, and you just have to go for the fights. You cannot back out, because a lot of the time the zone is right behind you, or there's another 2 teams right behind you and the zone's behind them. So if you turn around, you're just going to be facing more people. So you really have to go in for it. You just have to keep the aggression on, keep that sense heightened right to the top, and just go for it right until the end.
Yeah, Esme, let's remind the public and everyone watching right now exactly what these teams are playing for in form of the prize pool.
Your pockets if you do well. So of course our total prize pool for the season 3 of Umzansi is $17,500. So I mean that alone is insane. But of course it is all split between 2 titles, PUBG Mobile and FIFA 21. Now FIFA 21 will be running around with that $2,500 prize pool, and PUBG Mobile we have that $15,000 to work with. So of course it will be split between the teams, but man oh man, that is a prize pool of note.
I'm super excited, obviously, because for me, seeing how Northern Gaming Africa is constantly pushing the envelope when it comes to prize pools and when it comes to the quality of gaming tournaments in Africa is so amazing to see. Now, everyone watching right now, make sure you follow Northern Gaming Africa on all our socials so you stay up to date with all the latest news on tournaments and upcoming events and upcoming videos, because this is where it is happening with African esports. Now, as Patchy just given us a breakdown of what he thinks is going to be happening in Sanhok, what do you, from your experience watching some of these teams, obviously coming up from the Nkosi Super Cup, which one of these teams do you think Sanhok favors their style of gameplay?
Well, I normally would have that answer, but based on what we just saw on the first map, where we saw majority of the teams actually taking an aggressive stance and deciding that they're gonna, have some fun. Sanhok, at the end of the day, let's remind everyone at home, compared to Erangel and Miramar, for example, who are 8x8 blocks, each block being a kilometer, so roughly, 64 kilometers, depending, of course, if you take out all the water, it's a little bit less. But if you compare that to Sanhok, Sanhok is 4x4 blocks, which is exactly half. So you go from 64 to what, essentially 16? That's insane. So that's a massive change in your, your circumstance, in your environment. So the biggest thing with Sanhok is those third parties, man, those fourth parties, those fifth parties. Everyone is going to know when you're taking a fight. So with this aggressive group of players that we've got tonight, I can't in good conscience put anyone forward, because it's just going to be the luck of the draw. If you're going to get third party, fourth party, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to get smashed. Maybe, unless
So
your Darkness, who gets 8 kills by himself. But I can't put a number on anyone.
So I've just learned a few things today. When you go to Sanhok, watch your back, watch your front, watch your side, watch everything around you, and basically bring your dancing shoes because it's gonna be there are gonna be a lot of parties happening everywhere, and you want to make sure that you're ready for the change in tempo and the change in music. I think from all definitions, um, Sanhok is like a hot drop. Like when you drop in, you make sure you get the right weapons, get looted, get stacked, because it's coming from you right from the jump off. This is definitely going to be a really exciting match. We had something really hot in the first one. We're about to go into the aeroplane and fly over Sanhok to see what's happening in the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you by Nordwind Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two amazing people, Pachi and Esmery, who took us through an exciting blow by blow of events that happened in the first game. But this time around, I can't wait to see what happens, because Pachi his description of Sanhok was very colorful. And I'm literally glued to my TV. I've got my pen and a glass of milk. I am ready for the action.
Yeah, I must say I'm also quite ready for this one.
We are waiting for the teams to load up. Esme, when you think about the Umzansi Esports League and PUBG Mobile, and obviously this tournament runs for a while, over at least how many weeks are we talking about? Like 10, 12 weeks? I can't remember. 28 days.
Although it's end of August, so quite a
end of August. So literally, there's going to be a lot of action coming on week after week. Now, obviously from a caster point of view, you obviously see these teams performing at different levels over different weeks as the tournament progresses. What I mean, obviously, I want to ask is, mentally, where do you think these teams need to be week in, week out in a league of this stature? Of how prepared do they need to be?
Oh, we talk about consistency a lot, and I mean, consistency is a very difficult term to bring into a battle royale perspective. We talk about RNG in battle royales. There's no real consistency in battle royales. There's no top number one every single time. As we mentioned on Sanhok now specifically, like, depending on where you drop and where you choose to take a fight, might be the end of it for you for that map. Even if you were the top team in the last couple of weeks, like Temper, they in the season 1, I still remember it because it was my first experience with PUBG Mobile. I just saw Temper at the top for weeks on weeks on. That's going to end. It doesn't matter how good you are with your rotations, how good you are with your skills. So mentally, you need to prepare yourself for the worst and hope for the best. Just come back stronger every single time.
Well, let's see which one of these teams is coming back stronger in Game 2. This is Sanhok. My name is Dr. Sid, leaving you in the hands of Pachi and Desmond as we take it away in Umzansi Season 3.
Yeah, thank you so much once again, Dr. Sid. Moving in to Sanhok, we're going to have some interesting gameplay on our hands, of course. As Marie said, we're not just sitting on a gigantic 64 blocks map here. We have got things chopped down big time. But that's not the only thing that's been chopped down. It's not just the space, it's the time that is getting chopped down as well. The time that these teams have to prepare, the time that these teams have to rotate and get their stuff together. So we'll have a look and see which teams can make that happen right now. Of course, everyone heading it down into their preferred spots. Of course, interesting to watch BBC where they drop on this one, because there's a lot of water and you can get into it quite quickly. So we'll see if they make some of those long arm rotations that we've come to know them for.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was my first experience seeing BBC. Is I saw them on a boat, I saw them in the zone, rotating around the long path to freedom, as it were. But we'll see. I mean, those long rotations are sort of, a give and take. Sometimes they work out really, really great. You get into positions that most teams won't be able to and won't be expecting you to be. But sometimes it definitely can nip you in the butt. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that's going to end up being. But I mean, Sanhok, I remember when it came out, it was such a refreshing map. I mean, both in terms of the scenery that we were looking at, but also just the constant action, man. I mean, we talk about third parties, talk about fourth parties, fifth, all the way to six, who knows? But the fact that you can just really get into those engagements really quickly, it's an exciting map. And I really enjoy this map from that kind of perspective. I think for a team, you know, trying to make those placements points, you know, trying to get to the top, it can be really daunting. Patchy, what do you think?
It can be really tough. One of the things we actually see on Sanhok that's been sort of traditional, I guess you could say, in the past seasons is that a lot of the teams that will win on a map like Miramar or a map like Erangel will actually end up not winning on this particular map. And usually teams that we want to see step up can do so right here. I mean, we've seen a lot of names, teams win this particular map that we don't see in any of the other ones. It's very, very interesting. And I think maybe that comes from some of the gameplay that this particular map lends itself to, because, you know, you were talking about how Tempo was able to, in the first season, keep their names up at the top of that scoreboard for so long. And a lot of it has to do with the ability to actually not play consistency in a sense. We'll get to that, of course. Right now we've got the shots coming straight on through and immediate thirsts as well. And, well, Rainbow Six just cashing in on that one super quickly. And that's just how this game plays in this particular map. It's just super, super quick. But just getting back to what I was saying, you know, it's actually sometimes not necessarily about the consistency, because as you mentioned, you know, the consistency is very difficult to achieve in a Battle Royale game. But one of the things is maybe being a little bit unexpected, maybe being a little bit erratic, making some decisions that might seem to go against, you know, your first initial instinct, but actually in the long run can help you out. It's, you know, you get into a position, you see things are happening, and you just have to make quick decisions, get in, do something crazy, and maybe you'll be able to keep yourself up there, because you might just drop in one game and it's great and you win and everything's fine, and then you drop in the same place, but then the zone goes a different way and it's just too chaotic and you can't manage it. And you sometimes have to make the crazy decisions and say, this is not going the way we needed it to. This is not going according to plan. Let's switch it up and do something crazy. Let's just zoom across the whole map in a car. Let's go to the other side. Let's go onto the water. Let's do something BBC style. You know, let's do something crazy. That might just be something that some of the teams can bring to the front, especially here on this map.
Yeah, Black Clover also now running away with a few kills of their own. So I mean, a lot of these teams that we, you know, saw in the previous maps, unfortunately falling short, they're finding a little bit of treasure in this map. We still have all 14 teams alive and healthy, hopefully for the most part, but a few members here and there have unfortunately dropped. We can see Ultra 6, of course, they've lost Mullins. So yeah, some of the teams already, you know, hurting a little bit. We can see Ultra 6 still looking for that kill, looking for that Black Clover member, trying to get some revenge going here. And man, oh man, the angles are just rough right now. It's actually Vibe that's got a little bit of a corner situation happening here. He's got two members running into his face and he's going to be going down. Villain's down, Vibe down. Oh, it is unfortunate all sides around. So, I mean, both Black Clover and Ultra 6 now, they've unfortunately lost a few members.
Yeah, and that is something that is not going to stop for any one of these teams. Things are really just going to get turned up. The old adage, you know, out of the frying pan and into the fire, except this is infinite numbers of frying pans and fires. And they burn hotter and hotter every time you jump out of one and go into the next one. So that is exactly what these teams are going to start experiencing. As I said, it starts out slow-ish, you know, comparably not really, but for this map, it starts out slow-ish. The teams get a chance to make things happen, but you can already see that the level of, you know, early game aggression coming through is definitely higher than that of any of the other maps. And of course, as we were speaking about, that's because of how small it is. Now we just have to wait and see which situations these teams get stuck in, because that is very often what happens. It's not necessarily because the teams are, you know, maybe make a mistake or because they're bad. It's actually just because they get caught out and maybe they didn't expect something to happen. They're sandwiched in between a rock and a hard place. And that does tend to happen here on this map. Now, right here on your screen, of course, you can see the Immortalz taking up a little bit of a position here, seeing if they can get some cheeky angles in, and that can definitely be a bit of a game changer. We've seen it happen before. Temper used to absolutely abuse the high ground. A little bit of a don't do it. I've got the high ground moment coming out here every now and then. So we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, BBC all the way in the corner up towards the top, doing what they do and just staying outside the zone as long as possible and really giving people a run for their money. And we've seen them do some interesting things here on this map before, especially with their roundabout rotations that, as you mentioned, Smiri, they can actually come and give you a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely unexpected. I didn't expect it the first time I saw it, and neither did some of the teams that unfortunately fell victim towards it. But yeah, give and take. We'll see how it happens. Sanhok, it's not the biggest map, so actually I think a strat like that really works out well in their favor if they can get those rotations happening early on. But we talk about positioning. We've mentioned tempo quite a lot tonight, and I think they're one of the ones that stick in my head quite often. I mean, Gun's also another big name that we've mentioned time and time again. And actually, within this group, we've got tempo, we've got the BBC, the likes of BBC. But what are some of the other teams that you would throw into the mix if we're talking about teams that have a really good grasp on their rotations?
Really good grasp on their rotations. Well, I don't think we have anyone quite as crazy as BBC, as you can see here. I mean, these guys really take it to the extreme. I mean, look at them sitting right in that boat. They are going fishing. They don't care about the game. It's like, we didn't come here to play PUBG. No, we came here to play Fishing Simulator. And then at the end of the game, that's when we play PUBG. We do this. We do the 1v1s, 1v2s. Go in for the final zone. We'll see if they can do it, see if they can catch out a couple of teams. And this is actually a rotation we've seen coming out of BBC before, going all the way from the east and around the top in towards our 10. We'll see if they do it again, because they will be going head-to-head with Not Gaming. But to answer your question, I think possibly to keep an eye on is maybe Spaza 6. I think they're a bit of a staple here in the seasons. And then, of course, Immortalz, who seem to be surprising us in that first game. Not sure if it's going to come out to help them here in this time, because as I mentioned, this particular map, Sanhok, is notorious for switching things up and sort of turning the general leaderboard up on its head. So we'll see how that goes. We'll keep an eye on all the usual suspects. Of course, we'll keep our eye on Temper as well. It does seem like they've had a few roster shuffles, so I'm not entirely sure if they're going to retain what we know them for in the past, but we will still keep an eye on them and see how they perform. I mean, this is, it's a new season, it's new beginnings, and we give them a little bit of a blank slate to work with, and let them prove themselves moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a surprising first map, so I'm still hoping for those challenges from Incorsi to make a nice bold little statement there. We've seen them do a couple of things here and there, take a couple of kills, but I want to see that chicken winner, going into their pockets, having a nice meal towards the end of this map, and enjoying the fruits of their labor. BBC, here we are, taking a nice swim.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right?
Getting the care package, and doing what they need to do. My goodness gracious. So
that's truly the PUBG experience right there.
It really is. What's funny to me is I feel like we had more action on Erangel than we did on Sanhok so far. We really had an active first couple of minutes, and we had a few fights break out here and there, but ultimately it's feeling a lot more controlled, a lot slower this time around. I think. Yeah. Do you think a lot of teams are, that afraid, of course, of that third-party, mentality, coming in? I mean, it is a massive aspect on this map, but it's so bizarre to see these teams completely change it up.
Well, if you think about it, it actually makes a lot more sense. It doesn't seem that way, because this is very much a difficult map to maintain that, and the fights happen very quickly, and you'll see the explosions will definitely start to come soon. But it's actually, it follows logically on that a really big map, you want to speed things up a little bit. You want to start the aggression, because nothing's going to do it for you. The map's not going to force it for you. So you've got to make it happen yourself. On a map like Miramar, for instance, you've got to cover the distance. You've got to get onto the high ground. You've got to take those long distance shots. In Erangel, same is true. You've got to get the rotations through, make sure your positioning's good to catch the rotates, catch the fights. In this map, it's completely the opposite way around. This map makes you fight. And so it really, it's a skill that you have to develop to actually slow things down as far as possible. And these teams need to do it in the early game, because as we said, the early game is the only time where they get to do this, right? There's no Erangel lull in the middle. quick in the beginning, quick at the end, nothing in the middle. That can happen in Erangel. It doesn't happen in this map very often because of how small it is. Oftentimes, they have to just slow down as much as possible in the beginning, because once that zone gets going, as I mentioned, it's out of the frying pan, into the fire, back into the frying pan, and back into the fire again. There's no chance to slow down. It's quick decisions. It's quick fights. You have to just keep going. So once that moment snaps, once you step over that boundary, that's when things start to happen, and it's super, super crazy. And it actually takes an immense amount of control over yourself and the team right here, and just to rein your team in and rein them back, and just not let them try and run anywhere and go crazy, and really slow the game down so that you have enough time to prepare, that you have enough time to actually get all your gear. So yeah, that is really what we're seeing here. The teams have become quite good at it over the seasons, definitely getting better and better every time we see them here. But of course, the shots are due to come through. BBC and Not Gaming exchanging a couple of shots, and yeah, I'm just waiting for us to step over that line of no return.
Yeah, it's exactly that's what we're waiting for. So yeah, you were talking about BBC and Not Gaming having a little bit of a conversation, with their guns, with the explosions, and so far it looks like BBC is having bigger words to say to Not Gaming right now. So far, a lot of members of Not Gaming have been knocked down. BBC only one down, and Not Gaming under a little bit of pressure here. So still 2 members remaining. You can see Aimless looking for that angle, looking just for something. Molotov going down to try and get some more damage towards that side. The revive has actually come through for BBC, so they're 4 members happy and healthy, and they're looking to take Not Gaming out of the picture. Down to only 2 members, up and Atom trying to fight it out, and so far the damage is really coming in. Such a horrible position here for Not Gaming, because they're just getting clustered right now. They do well to do a little bit of damage back. Once again, those races coming through, the revives should be popping off. I think BBC might be losing at least 1 member here. Can see another one knocking down. That nade might connect, and we've got a lot of low HP there on the other side. And once again, Aimless going down. This poor man, he's been rezzed like 2 times already, and now once again he has to sit back and watch his teammates try and clutch it out. That zone coming in, just putting in even more pressure now on these 2 teams, because now it's that chip damage, it's the fights in front of them, it's the shots coming through. And Lord once again down. Macho has taken down 2, and they're not looking to stop anytime soon. Is this the end of BBC? Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, Patchy, it happened.
It happened. And I mean, BBC was in a good position initially. They weren't able to leverage it, unfortunately, and a really great grenade getting tossed by the side of Not Gaming is just going to even that playing field out and then tip it in their scales. And then, of course, they were able to hammer it home, and that's really just the give and take. That is the BBC style. You either take it all, you get them by surprise, and you get the squad wipe, or you just get taken out. And unfortunately, they didn't have much cover. They were using the boat. Oh, pardon me, gee whiskers. They were using the boat. But obviously, if you're hiding behind a boat and there's no other cover, then the logical conclusion for the enemy team is that if you throw a grenade behind that cover, it's either to eat the grenade damage or run away and expose yourself, in which case you also die. So yeah, a difficult situation all across the board. But now, of course, here on your screens, we've got Undisputed AE sitting and right across from the team there from Zero Tolerance Skills. So we'll see if they exchange some fire. Of course, you can see they're just waiting. They don't want to initiate just yet, and that's because once they step over that line, it becomes a very difficult situation. As you mentioned, the third parties, the fourth parties, all the parties happen, and you really can't pull back. Once that happens, it happens. You just have to hard commit to it. So the teams really have to pick their engagements quite specifically, quite carefully. And even though it is a battle across the little river here, they can still take those long-range shots. And here it is. Hey, it's doing exactly that, putting a couple in towards Kage and doing a little bit of damage. Now we're just waiting for that zone to start coming through. It is very, very small now. So once it starts coming in, it should be quite difficult for these teams to really keep themselves alive for long. At the moment, we've got 13 teams, 43 players left alive, but you know as well as I do that those numbers will definitely start to drop very, very soon as we head into our 16th minute here and head from our 3rd to 4th zone. And this is where things start to speed up just that little bit more.
Just a stare down right now between Aphelion and Apex and zero tolerance skills right now. So they've all got their side. You stay that side. Don't come here. It's my building. You stay that side. Still 13 teams left so far, you know, after that unfortunate demise there of BBC. And I mean, I just want to go back to that. Not Gaming was in such a horrible position, and then somehow, some way, they made it work and turned it around for them. That's insane. And, you know, we were talking about the mentality of these players. We were talking about how they adjust so beautifully to these maps. And of course, they have that experience. It's amazing to me because it really speaks to the caliber of players that we have here in Umzansi. And I mean, those teams that are coming through, you know, from Nkosi, I think they've got a lot to be proud of here. And the teams that have managed to stay in Umzansi also should be really proud of the situation that they find themselves in. And Ultra 6, my oh my, Mojo, the last member remaining, going for that placement game, going to see how many points he can get for his team, really putting in the work here. And he has to be very careful, because just around every nook and cranny, every corner, every hill, there is another team looking to take him out. And I mean, they would be happy with another team kill to add to their ranks. So got to be careful that zone now. Ooh, look at that.
There it is. We've basically headed past the point of no return here. So the zone is tiny. We're in boot camp nonetheless. I mean, that is nuts. Of course, you can see here things are just going to get crazy. The shots now flying off in every direction. That is going to be the name of the game from here on out. And speaking of Mojo as a lone wolf, we've actually seen a couple of lone wolf players do some crazy things before. They've actually come through to do some serious damage and actually change the rankings of the leaderboard at the end of the day. And this is a brilliant position for Mojo to be in. He could really do some damage if he takes his time and picks his shots. But of course, those moments will very soon pass as, well, the rest of the team, Black Clover now moving up towards Undisputed. AE Kage in the wrong place at the wrong time, jumping around in the water. It's going to get taken out immediately by some well-placed shots from Hamdi here. And that is not going to stop as now, well, Undisputed AE are on the back foot just a little bit. Black Clover making their way up and sieging that position here. Of course, Mojo hasn't fired a single shot, waiting for the right moment. Actually, might not even want to engage here. Just going to tuck himself right under the bridge here and just... yeah, hope that they don't really see him for the time being. Inspector going to put some shots in towards the Blank Legion, and a grenade actually going to take Bob straight out of the picture here. So now we are seeing those numbers start to plummet bit by bit. The shots coming through. UAE getting hit, Blank Legion getting hit, Black Clover now moving up as well, trying to put the shots in. Sully going down as the hits come through. Hamdi and the rest of the Black Clover squad trying to siege up, and they will successfully put those hits in. Zero only getting one before he goes down. The reses can come through. Rusty now left. Bias loads him to try and take out the rest. He's going to find the shots. What an absolute clutch coming through there, doing the damage as is necessary. All of a sudden, Black Clover just getting hammered away, and what looked like a solid win there just absolutely claimed back to bite them, and that is exactly what we've been waiting for. Out of the frying pan into the fire now. Mojo, the lone wolf, still alive, just playing that slow game, playing the stealth game, trying to stay alive, but he has been sniffed out. Zero will get taken down, though. Mojo does win the fight, but his position is now known, and Rusty sitting up in the top is going to be nading him out of position, trying to bait out the fight. He does have the high ground, though, so this is going to be quite difficult as the blue zone moves up and the third-party shots come through as well. What a tough situation.
No, man. I'm sitting here waiting for these solos to rise up. Now, the only solo we have left looking at is, of course, Rusty. I mean, that clutch is absolutely important and absolutely insane there for Aphelion Apex. I mean, they've got 3 team kills, of course, to work with, so that's a couple of extra points to add on. But now we'll see if that Rusty can actually make it into the zone safe and sound. Of course, that threat of third parties is still there. Oh, not gaming now, also falling victim to the play zone. So players are just dropping by the numbers right now. It's insane.
Yeah, it is, and it's not going to stop either. That is exactly what happens here on this map. The teams try and slow it down as much as possible, but after a certain point, it's just impossible. You can see on the minimap there, the blue zone is on the heels of these players, about to move on in as that timer ticks down. You can see Rainbow Six right up against a rock and a hard place, and of course the hard place being the team standing right in front of them. So this is going to be quite a difficult one for them to try and manage that, of course, being Fear. Spaza also getting their mobilization going, trying to get on in towards that zone, but Rainbow Six has to make a tough decision. They have to move on through. Hulk taking a few shots across the way. Does return the fire, though. Horus putting some hits in. Shoto does go down to Rainbow Six, just not going to be able to make the cut. Spaza now moving in as quickly as possible. Those HP bars looking super low, and now they are just getting absolutely hammered by the team up right on the top of the hill, utilizing their position, and this is just a disaster for Spaza. They will not live to see the rest of this map as they just get taken out bit by bit. And I mean, this is exactly what I was saying. It's out of the frying pan into the fire and right back into the frying pan for these teams.
And these poor teams, I mean, it's chaos after chaos after chaos. And now we still got a couple shots going into Spaza Gaming, R2 going down, and Fear as well, taking quite a bit of damage there. His 2 members, oh, just look at that play zone. Oh, I think the play zone has taken more kills than we've seen the rest of the teams. But now looking at it, we've got 5 teams remaining, 16 players to that 5 teams. And this is going to be an interesting one. So that zone now heading up here towards the top of the hill, just outside of bootcamp. But a lot of the teams have already taken that rotation. So they've got the high ground, as we can see here. And Immortalz just around the corner as well. They still have to rotate into the zone. And as we say that time and time again, you have to run over the hills. I mean, you've got a couple of trees in between, you know, your running path here. But a lot of the teams are waiting for those angles. They're just waiting for any sort of movement and looking for that potential extra kills. As these rotations head in now, this is where the contention really begins. The teams that actually have the buildings, that have the abilities. Oh no, Rusty, I saw you. No, why did you go down? So that is the end of Aphelion Apex. They end in 5th place, but we still got 4 teams remaining, and the shots are coming through here. Temper now under a little bit of trouble. Gunner going down, and the rest of his teammates now looking for that recovery. My goodness gracious, Matrix, relax, taking a couple of shots. Vortex as well going down. So, oh, this is looking good for a lot of our teams, but for the rest, those rotations are rough.
Yeah, super, super rough. 4 teams remaining at the moment, and of course, it is not going to be an easy game here. Fighting up the side of a hill, fighting up and down. The shot's coming through. On, it's going to hit the deck. Potato now pulling the trigger. Hasten goes down through the smoke. They're just putting that pressure on, keeping it up. In the meantime, Matrix going to take Darkness out. Inspector goes down. That's UAE getting clapped as well. And the rest of the team there from Zero Tolerance Skills just not going to make it either. Now UAE right at the top of the hill, but they've got to recuperate just a little bit. Matrix is all alone. He has no support from his team. He's going straight on through. He's just putting the hit in towards G3. Temper taking quite a lot of damage, but can he keep it up? No, the answer is no. Instantly going to get punished for not having the support of his team right there. Of course, Shroom now going to take a little bit of damage in return. It's still an uphill battle for them. Who's going to take this one? Holy smokes.
Man, oh man, there it is. The positioning there was insane. Matrix specifically, we were talking about Darkness earlier, you know, hitting that 8 kill marker. Now, this time around, it was Matrix taking a page out and saying, hey, you know what? I can do that too. I can, you know, make it work for my team. So, man, oh man, I think Undisputed AE are going to be very happy with that, taking the 2nd chicken dinner for the night. Really, really great positioning from them. And I mean, they weren't shy from kills whatsoever at all. They were happy to take those fights.
19 kills. I mean, they went for the positioning, they went for the kills, they went for absolutely everything.
It is as you guys said today. That was intense. I can't believe, like, it was, at the end of the day, I think it really boiled down to the positioning and obviously coordination of the team. Because like you said, once it was slow at the beginning, but once it got off to a start, let's say we went 14 teams to 4 in the space of 2 minutes. Like, it was that intense. And I'm super excited. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we talk about when we talk about the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nordwind Gaming. This is season 3, and as you can see, just our 2nd game in the PUBG Mobile tournament. The action is lit. Sanhok was exciting. Patchy, what were the highlights for you in that particular game?
Yeah, I've really got to say that I think the turnaround from the fight between BBC as they came on to the beach there, it looked like they were in a good position and they were about to leverage it, and everything looked great. They had the setup. They were all sitting behind cover. They had one teammate that was flanking, and then I believe it was Not Gaming just instantly turning it around, and that one grenade landing perfectly on the back line, taking BBC and really just crippling their attack, turning it around, taking the win there in that situation. So yeah, I think that was my favorite moment out of that one. But I mean, the whole thing was quite intense, and right at the end there, I think is a close second.
Yeah, I was literally just about to be flanked just now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Esports, Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nordwind Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid here with Esmery and Patchy, and we will be back right after this break. How much time? Welcome back to the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Northern Gaming. This is Season 3, Day 1. We've had some exciting matchups today from FIFA, but now we're in PUBG Mobile, and it has been nothing but exciting. My name is Dr. Sid. I'm here with two amazing people, Pachi and Esmery, and we have been bringing you the action from Erangel to Sanhok, and very soon we will be heading to Miramar. Pachi, tell us about Miramar. What is it? What's so special about this particular map?
Well, I'd say probably the one thing that this is quite notable for is that this takes a while. This is probably one of the longer maps that we're in for a bit of a long run. You know, if quick was the name of the game before, then we're really just flipping it on its head, and it's going to take a little bit longer. It's a lot of positions that need to be cleared here. There's a lot of buildings. It's a little bit slower. So and that is traditionally speaking. We might see a bit of a change up, but I seriously doubt it. This map is known for just taking a little bit longer than the rest of them. So yeah, I think if there's one thing that we're going to expect here, it's we might be here for a little while.
So, Esme, I wanted to ask you about the winners of the last match, Undisputed AE. Tell us more about the team as we're looking at the different teams in these groups. I would just like us to touch over some of the different teams, their makeups, and if you understand their play style, just tell us about some of these teams.
Yeah, I think Patch will probably be the better one to speak about this. But from what we saw on the previous map, what I can say is I am thoroughly impressed by a lot of these teams and the way that they've been, looking at the rotations, the way that they've been looking at the positions. Specifically, Undisputed AE, of course, in that previous map. I mean, we mentioned it briefly. They really did not back down from a fight. Like, of course, they took every single fight, as safely as they could. But I mean, we had, single members of AE taking on single-handedly, 3 to 4 players, just firing down the bullets and making the plays as well as they could. So I mean, that confidence that they showed in that previous map, I mean, it really speaks when you look at the kill points that they managed to gather there. I mean, we obviously had 8 kills in the one, 4 in the other, another 4, another 3. I mean, it's ridiculous to see those kind of numbers here, especially on the second map and on a map like Sanhok that is so well known for those third parties and fourth parties. So I think they had the right idea. They had their backs towards each other, and they just took the fights. They really did fantastic.
It looked like something out of an Avengers movie, like literally back to back, and everybody's just going around and making sure that nothing comes to break up this team. Now, Patch, looking at the next game, and we just literally saw the teams in Group A and Group B. From your experience with what these guys have put out in the first map in Erangel and Sanhok, and I know you said that it's more like it's a spaced out map, and there's going to be we can't really tell, but if you could from your experience watching these teams over time, which one of these teams do you feel sort of plays better on a map like Miramar, and who should we watch out for?
In a map like Miramar, if we're talking about Miramar, it's my mind wants to say Temba, because they're really well known for taking these fights on Miramar. The long distance is really up their alley. They're so good at just getting themselves into a position, and I think we saw this towards the end of last season. They position themselves right on the top of one of the best vantage points, and they just nail people as they come past. So they don't actually do anything else. They don't go anywhere. They don't take a fight with someone, because then there's only one team that you can kill, right? Maybe 2 if you're lucky. But if you stand on top of the hill and do what they did, you could just put the shots into all the surrounding teams all across the board in like a big 360 space around you, and they just pick people off as soon as they come into the scopes. But that is last season Tempa. Now we have a bit of a change up roster. They still have Flecko, they still have 6 gods, so there's definitely potential there. I mean, these guys at the heads could definitely bring that same back. But I mean, we might be looking at a new Tempa identity here, so it's actually kind of difficult to tell, because when you see the roster change, the playstyle could potentially also change as well. So I'm keeping my eye on Tempa, but we might see something totally different coming out from them today.
To be honest, for someone who's played video games for a long time, and just seeing the growth of esports in Africa, and seeing names like Tempa, like Aphelion, Apex, and Blank Legion, and Fear and Undisputed, and seeing how people are coming together and creating all these clans and all these esports organizations. I'm super excited about what the future holds, and obviously seeing the quality of competition that we're having in the Umzansi Esports League, it just blows my mind as we start flying over Miramar that looks like Afghanistan. I'm just gonna leave everyone in the very capable hands of Esmery and Pachi as they're gonna take you through the blow by blow that's happening in the Umzansi Esports League Season 3. Remember, everyone, you should be following Nordwing Gaming Africa on all our socials to be updated on everything that's happening, and I will see you after Game 3.
Yeah.
Ooh, here we are, Miramar. I mean, after, it's interesting, we were talking about like such a fast-paced Erangel, then such a slow-paced Sanhok, and now here we are again. It's Miramar, so
At least it's not
I'm
Kennedy.
curious. Yeah. Look, I mean, we have a little bit of a, I don't know, that one's an interesting one. But I mean, speaking about it, the way that it ended there towards the end, we had so many turnarounds. We also had Aphelion Apex, who also had a turnaround of their own, as we can see them dropping through here. They were also in such dire straits, in such a horrible situation, and somehow, some way, Kage managed to turn it around. Took a couple of kills and did his best to, I think, get to top 5 for the team. So we had some hero stories on Sanhok, and now the question is, okay, hello Zone, good morning.
Yeah, that zone waking up a little bit, heading down towards the southeast, which we don't see all too often. Usually this map we see a few more northern zones, usually northeast or northwest a lot of the time. But yeah, I guess today the game just likes to throw a little bit of a curveball, and so it's another curveball once again for these teams. Nothing that they can't handle, though, that's for sure. I mean, so far we've definitely seen the capabilities of these teams, and while we are still waiting for them to give us a full display of what they can do, right now we're only getting a bit of a taste, a bit of an entry into what these teams are capable of. But I mean, so far they have proven that they can adapt, to what's going on. They showed a really great start on Erangel. And then, of course, some nice adaptation over towards Sanhok. And now here on Miramar with the long ranges, a little bit of a longer gameplay, we're going to see how the teams handle a little bit more of an up and down tempo of game, because things can happen quickly, especially if the hot drops come in, which can happen on this map, or they can happen really slowly and then, pick up the pace a little bit towards the end. But generally speaking, there is a bit of a downtime where the teams have a bit of time to set up and get themselves ready. But then the real test comes towards the middle and the end of the game, where these teams are going to be put into the situations. A lot of the time on this map specifically, we see a lot of contesting of the hilltops and the mountains for that long distance, for that range. So yeah, let's have a look and see what these teams can bring to the table here on our first Miramar of the season.
That has a nice ring to it, hey? First Miramar of season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. But I can't believe the fights that we saw in that previous map. I mean, I mentioned it briefly in the beginning. That top 5 is always a question mark for me, and it still stays true. Like with battle royales, you can't really sit and 100% predict who's going to be a winner. I mean, that's the whole beauty and I guess the pain of battle royales, is that it's up to a lot of times chance and timing, and who you're going to be running into at what time, depending on what equipment you have. And it's interesting to see how these teams keep adapting and how they keep surprising us. And for you, Patchy, I mean, going into this, who were you really looking out for, and now has that changed? Have you rethought your thinking patterns here? Is it still BBC?
Well, in this pool, yeah, definitely BBC is always fun. I'm not sure if I think they're going to take mega wins right now. If they do, it will be really good to see. Like I said, I always enjoy watching them. I think actually my eyes are turned a little bit towards, the next group. Right now, we've seen teams like, for instance, Immortalz, teams like. I don't know. It's not really the best way to judge right now. I mean, sure, we've had 3 games. This is game 3, obviously, for the first, but it's difficult to judge what we've got. So my eyes move sort of to the next group where we actually have teams like, for instance, Gun, Nibble, Natural Killers. Those are some more names that we really did see moving through in the previous season. Some other big names. I'm interested to see how they come to the table, because right now we got to see how BBC returning to form, the sort of expected temper, not really in that state that they used to be. So they've got a little bit of grinding to get back in. They're not gaming. Also, they have the potential to step up. We did see that, of course, Black Clover and Blank Legion are 2 other names that we've seen. Some of them coming up from course, if I'm not mistaken. So, there's a lot to prove on that front. But, head back to some more veterans in the next group, Group C, where Gun is and Nibble is as well. And those are also 2 names that really were able to shake things up in the previous season. So, yeah, it's difficult to say if, opinions are swayed at this point just yet. I know there's a lot of fans of quite a few teams, a lot of cheering for UAE as well, which, definitely... is warranted so far in this game, but I think there's definitely open, fresh ground for these teams to take right now. There's a lot to prove, and there's a lot of free spaces sitting on that leaderboard that they can definitely take, and a lot of fans I think that could potentially be made for some of these teams if they prove themselves. So. Yeah, I'm really sort of considering Season 3 as a bit of a blank slate and waiting to see the teams step up and see if we have the old teams from the previous season returning to form, or if we have new teams moving up just now from Incorsi, also taking up the plate.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the hope, right? You always want to be surprised. But, man, I wanted to put you in a difficult situation, and you just talked yourself out of it. Tisk, Patchy. You have to make the content here, man. But I mean, looking at it now, we've got the zone closing in, of course. We've got some rotations happening, 0 tolerance skills. They're feeling the brunt of it. Are we having another car chase? Once again, Rainbow Six on the back line with the trucks actually popping out there to take a couple of shots. Not going to be seeing them just at the end of the tree lines. They're trying to get a few, but now the focus really has to be on getting out of the blue zone. It hurts. It's not a fun time. Get out of there. And we've still got 14 teams left. I mean, this is the expectation with Miramar. It's quite slow. Rotations are happening now. It's a very, very big map. I mean, space-wise, it's exactly the same as Erangel, but I mean, the structure and the layout of this environment is so different. I mean, the hills, we talked about it a little bit. The buildings, the structures, they really do vastly change. And of course, all the cars are going to be coming out. So we've got a little bit of Fast and Furious going through. Man, oh man, I just want to see a proper car chase, man. We had a little bit of one. BBC, we're running away. Rainbow Six Siege, they're just teasing us right now. They're getting close, but they're not going for it. Man.
Yeah, sometimes we get a little bit of GTA going in PUBG. Sometimes the players get a little bit antsy and they're like, yeah, you know what? We're gonna switch up the game where you had BBC on the fishing simulator game. Now got a little bit of GTA sim, but it's not a full commit. If you commit to the car chase, it can be fun, but it can also be very difficult. We have Rainbow Six now hopping on to the bike and continuing forward. Not happy to sit in that smoking car, which is probably for the best. They are taking a little bit of damage from that blue, but they should be able to make it out just in time. Of course, that early blue zone not doing all that much damage, so they don't have to worry too much about getting taken out just yet. Of course, they do have to keep an eye on that, and of course the good old PUBG physics, just catapulting those players up into the sky, as in real life. As in real life, that's exactly how it happens. Of course, you can see the zone now shifting in towards the east, getting a little bit smaller, doing what it does. We have to have those rotates coming through. Black Clover up in towards the north, along with Fear. We also have the Spaza down towards the south, and of course 0 tolerance skills. They're off towards the west. They've got to make their way in across that line as well. And interesting to see that we haven't really gotten all that many third parties just yet. I'm assuming that we might see a little bit more as the time goes forward. But yeah, I mean, this is just what you can expect from Miramar, especially now that we're in the position of this map. it does ask for a lot of comfortability. Teams generally only start to really make the big plays when they're comfortable with the map and each other. Of course, the teams will be familiar with the map, but they need to be comfortable with how, each and every team that they're going to be playing against plays, which is why it's quite difficult right in the beginning. You're playing up against a team that you maybe haven't faced just yet on this particular field. And then, as you face the rest of the group, you sort of start to get a bit of a better feel for how each team or how the teams generally play, how the groups generally play out. And once you found your footing, it's a lot easier to launch forward into some strategies and some tactics. So we're about to see that happen. Of course, you can see the teams getting a little bit closer to one another. And generally after this zone and maybe the next zone is where we start to see the most engagement. So Chris just flinging himself again, as per usual. Was it him that did that the last time?
Yeah,
I feel like it was.
No, I think it was either that or someone from BBC. It might have been Chris. It might have been, we might have to have a good chat with Chris and just talk about car mechanics with him for a while. But Patchy, it's funny. We did mention though that we did want to see these teams, not play it safe. Especially tonight, it's the first map. We still got many weeks ahead. Many weeks for them to really get a feel for their group and the other groups. Of course, it's only the first night, so it's only one more group that they're looking at, and of course, whoever's in their group. But I do really want to see them just, as you mentioned, try and see how much they can get away with. Try and see, who are the teams that they really need to be looking out for. Get some information, get some kills, go for it. Play around a little bit more. I mean, there's so many weeks of maps that they have ahead of them that we talk about consistency a lot, but I mean, this is the introduction. As we said, this is the first Miramar of Season 3, that beautiful ring that we have. And I want to see these teams go at it. I want to see these teams really just getting a good feel for their group by, going head first and experiencing whether or not it was a good idea in the first place. So I do agree that, the teams are going to be taking a little bit more of a strategic approach. A lot of them still know each other from, previous seasons, but we had 10 whole teams come through from Incorsi. That's 10 unknowns. That's 10 mysteries. And we also talked then about roster changes. Roster changes also completely basically throw, your expectation of a team out of the window. You can't, expect that, for example, you mentioned Temper to be playing the exact same way Temper has always played. There's a roster change in there. It's a complete new mystery for these teams to work with. So Miramar, we know, nice and slow, nice and tactical, but I do want to see those chaos moments coming through, because I think that's ultimately the best way you're going to learn, whether or not you're going to be taking a fight from, that team or not the next time around you cross paths.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely agree with you on the point of, it would be nice to see them sort of pick up the pace a little bit. One of the things about Miramar is that it does lend itself to a few more strategic players than usual. Whether the teams use that or not, of course, is a different question. But it's always nice to see aggression coming out more consistently and quicker. But that's always just something that's nice to see. It's not necessarily the most effective way to play.
100%.
And obviously the teams, they know that. So sometimes there is just a little bit of a slow. But I mean, this is what I said right in the beginning, when we were talking about what to expect from this map. I said it was going to take a little bit longer, it'll be a little bit slower. And that is what we're seeing now. But we still have our 14 teams. We've got our 56 players. That is definitely going to start changing now, as of course we head from zone 3 to 4. And from that point, it's tough. Chris is alive. Hey, his flinging has not sent him to the grave just yet. So we'll see if his flinging addiction becomes a problem. We might definitely have to sit him down and just talk about that, about physics and
gravity hurts, man. Gravity hurts. It does.
It does.
Oh, fear. No, get out of this. Oh, no, please. Okay, my anxiety aside, we're looking at Temper now taking a couple of shots there. One member down, as we can see. Shroom here, unfortunately, alone and afraid. The rest of his team members, rotating around. But they have to be careful. They have to be very careful, because just on the other side, we've got some very kill-hungry teams looking to take them out. And, of course, rotations coming through now. Might not just be the one team that they have to deal with. Oh, Shroom, I don't know if Shroom's going to make it out of that one. Yep, nope, out of it.
Yeah, not exactly the best position to try and escape from. You know, it's like there's nowhere to go. There's nothing else you could do. It's unfortunate. Sometimes you just have to give up the life of your friends in order to survive. It's yeah, it's the sad truth here out in the desert plains when the terrain is terrifying and punishing.
Sorry to cut you off. I was talking about third parties. I mean, we just saw there towards the end, we had Undisputed AE just walking up there on what we saw was Influence Rage Africa, who took out Shroom. So just on the back line, you know, I mean, Sully, he's obviously looking at Immortalz right now, looking for those kills. But I mean, we've got Temper to his right. We've got just behind the back line. We've got, you know, as we mentioned, Undisputed busy walking up. And you can see here they're busy throwing a couple of shots through, trying to find a couple of kills actually to hit. And Black Clover specifically is unfortunately feeling the effects of it.
Oh, this is great. I mean, this is exactly what I was talking about. This is a strategy that's really good on Miramar, taking those high angles, getting the long-range shots in. I mean, UAE doing a really good job here with the long range and that Mini 14 just wreaking havoc. That's what I want to see. If UAE can pull this off, if they can keep doing this kind of thing and sort of perfect this strategy and really start to put those hits in, get the kills, get the knocks, they might actually just sit right at the top of my radar here for this group, because their performance in the previous round was really good. If they can keep that up, if they could potentially replicate that, that'd be great to see. So yeah, definitely a lot riding on this one at the moment. Of course, the play zone doing what it does best and just punishing those who crawl around inside of it. Kage going to be going down in the meantime as well. So there's some serious damage being traded here between these teams. Rainbow Six trying to put some back in towards Undisputed AE, but it's not difficult. They've got the high ground. I mean, it's not easy to put the high ground, should I say. Now Miyagi trying to put the shots in. BBC taking quite a bit of damage. They do their rotate up in towards the buildings. Miyagi just, you know, keeping them honest here.
Oh, Kage also going down. I mean, that was my MVP there from that previous game. He really turned around the fight there, but unfortunately now going down, we can see Ultra 6 rotating in and actually finding a member there of Temper. Gunner going to be going down there to No Brain, so unfortunately now it's recovery mode once again for Temper, which they just seem to, you know, be running into. They've already lost Shroom and now potentially losing another member, have to go for that res sooner or later. All of the teams now rotating in, and I mean, you mentioned it before, a cluster is about to go down. We've got Ultra 6 smack bang in the middle of BBC, and just on the other side we've of course got Temper, and just on the back line we've got Rainbow Six as well, going to be joining the party sooner or later. And Ultra 6 in specifically, if we look at it right now, they're quite split up. Miyagi and Lynx, they're very far away from their teammates. So if they want to get close, if they want to try and go for those reses, they're going to be at a disadvantage. Or as we can see, Miyagi just going down. As I mentioned it. Oh, did I cast a Scope stat? Please tell me I did not. But either way, Ultra 6 now also going to be at a bit of a recovery stage here.
Yeah, it's tough times all across the board for these teams fighting right here at the border of the zone. It is tough. It is not going to be easy. You can see Tampa crawling around, taking so many shots from all over the place. There is barely any cover to use here. UAE right on the side. We've got Rainbow Six moving in. It is an absolutely crowded position to be in. Gunner just getting naded out of existence right there. HP looking super, super low. Ultra 6 moving in as well, getting taken down. No Brain getting taken out there as well. Mullins putting the shots in. Deity as well, catching Snurra. So this is very, very difficult. But BBC is actually a really good opportunity here. They are full HP, and they could just wait for the opportune moment to just hammer these teams that are actually taking one another out. I mean, these HP bars are looking low. If they find the right moment, they could potentially do quite a bit of damage here. The smoke's now obscuring the vision. Everyone trying to recuperate just that much to try and get themselves across that line, but they have to be difficult. Look how many teams are just lying in wait, waiting for them to step out in the wrong position.
Oh, Miyagi is still just lying there in wait. That HP gonna go down, and finally the kill comes through. The Ultra 6 gonna be losing Miyagi there. BBC, on the other hand, as well, losing Aimless. The shots are really happening here, and I mean, it's so much contention, right? And we were saying it's slow, and then you get that rotation And just at that opportune moment, you've got the angle, you're going to be looking behind you, and there's another team that's looking right at your back, looking to take you out first. And that's exactly what's happening here. I mean, we had Temper, it's unfortunately losing a member there. They turn around. Then Undisputed comes in for the party. BBC joins the party. Ultra 6 was there. And unfortunately, now we've got Temper down to 3 members. We've got BBC, at least I can see the 1 member there, rotating in. And I mean, Rainbow Six, they're still quite happy. They still have all 4 of their members still sitting pretty there in the building, just looking for more angles. Six God as well going down. Undisputed AE still putting in the shots. Man, oh man, Temper are feeling the brunt of it right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's going to be difficult to get out of this position, especially with UAE watching like an absolute hawk from their position right at the top of that mountain. In the meantime, of course, we've got some rotations moving through as well. Blank Legion, of course, as well as Zero Tolerance skills moving across, trying to position themselves here as the zone shrinks once again. Zeus going to get taken down in the meantime by Gunner as he pushes through, but instant clapback from Sahil is going to punish that immediately. So he goes down. We've got 11 teams, 37 players remaining as Rainbow Six putting the shots in. Matrix goes down. We've got Fear also now taking some engagements here. Oh, look at those grenades just absolutely exploding left, right, and center. It is not an easy landscape to be playing alongside right now. All of these teams moving on up, putting the pressure on. In comes Zero Tolerance skills, putting the shots in. Vortex trying to run the fight, and he does. Instantly hits the ground, reloads, gets himself in a better position here. Fear now on the back foot, trying to recuperate. The smokes are getting popped, but the shots coming through from Zero Tolerance. They will not tolerate a single retreat. They're just going to keep pushing until they get every single kill that they came here looking for. Of course, fighting right up the side of this zone right now is not going to be easy. Of course, Black Clover on the other end as well. They're not going to be in a too good of a position either, especially if Zero Tolerance keeps pushing the envelope like this, just keeps pushing forward. Retreats might be in order for one of these teams.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, that's the end of Fear. As we see King, he just got double naded. Beautiful cook there coming through from Zero Tolerance. But as we talked about it, those rotations have to come through. We've got Black Clover on the back line. Zero Tolerance, they've just, jumped out of a fight. Oh my goodness gracious. And then we've, of course, got Influence Rage Africa coming through, potentially for the third party. They heard the nades, they heard the bombardment happening, and now they're looking for a couple of prizes themselves. They're looking for those extra kill points. So Zero Tolerance, they don't have a lot of time to reset and recuperate until they head straight into the next fight. Of course, that zone, just look at it. It's crazy. We've got 9 teams in that small of an area, all on top of this hill, looking for the nooks and the crannies to be hiding in, to recuperate, to resuscitate their members as they are just taking shots left, right, and center. And of course, everyone being so close to each other can hear everything happening. So as the shots come through, we can see Rainbow Six here just on the other line. Ooh. Influence Rage Africa here now taking the rotation. If they're going to be going for, the left side, they're going to be running into 2 teams. They go to the right, they're going to be running into another 2. In the meantime, we've got Blank Legion actually taking a couple of shots, as well as Undisputed. Oh my goodness gracious, there's just members dropping left, right, and center. Zero Tolerance as well, feeling the brunt of it as Hades goes down. What's happening? Are we seeing, a comeback here from Black Clover? Are they now finding the kills themselves?
Honestly, right now, all of these teams are just doing their absolute best to survive, hiding behind any rock that they can find, any hill, any house. Oh, there comes the push through from the Black Clovers, but they are getting punished out in the open as Evasion tries to take them out. Not going to be too successful just yet. Horror's going to be taken out by the zone. Skeeto goes down as Black Clover just pushed through. Nihal getting taken down as well. BBC getting hammered. And now Rainbow Six continuing to pull the trigger on towards the Blank Legion. Of course, getting that thirst very quickly. Now, we still have a lot of teams, but we're playing right up this hill, and UAE have been absolutely devastating to surrounding teams. Potato picking up so many kills. They have just been an absolute thorn on the people's side, and maybe will be picking up a fan in the form of me by the end of this game, depending on how they perform. Definitely keeping my eye on this team. They've been performing really, really well so far, but can they keep it up is the question. At the moment, all of the teams below them, so they have some really good vantage points here. Could continue to get those longer range engagements going. In the meantime, of course, Temper moving up, trying to get the jump on them, trying to get a little bit of a flank going. Of course, BBC in that position as well could be in a tough spot here. Let's have a look and see if they can survive. Look at all these players moving. Observation puts that amazing nade in as Rainbow Six gets blasted out of existence. Hamity trying to put the shots in, and They are just absolutely, the shots are flying, the zone pushing up, making things super, super tough. The nades are getting tossed, and this is just absolute chaos with 6 teams remaining.
Undisputed, I mean, we mentioned it, you know, they had their backs toward each other and they were just taking fights from so many different angles, so many different teams, and it doesn't seem like they're going to stop now. As you said, they've got such a beautiful angle. No, Black Clover going to be taken out as we head into our top 5. Undisputed down to 2 members, 1 down, and unfortunately in need of a little bit of a res, but the fights are still continuing. Potato doing fantastic right now to just hold the line. As we mentioned, down to 2 members is, of course, Undisputed, but they have been doing so well. BBC down to 1 member remaining in the form of Valak. Unfortunately, has to play for the placement game here. Temper, some way, somehow, still have 2 members alive. I mean, they've been taking shots. They've been just running into third parties the whole of these last couple of seconds. So kudos to them for still managing to stay alive. And of course, we still have Influence Rage Africa in the game. This top 4 now. Oh, this is going to be an interesting one. So, I mean, look at it now. We've got Potato and Sahil. They've obviously got the, the upper, area of this. They've got the good angles, but unfortunately, they're quite split up. So, again, individually, the members here of Undisputed AE, they have to pop off because, their teammates, their support is a little bit, a ways away. If they want to take the rotation now, they're going to be opening themselves up to the angles here, of course, to Influence Rage Africa, to Temper, who are just looking for it. And Potato, he just wants to get more kills, man. He's looking for it. Sully goes down in the meantime there to Temper on the rotation, surely. So this is unfortunately a situation. And oh no, Potato not looking at the right place, right time. Gets taken down. Temper as well joining the party. Now, Undisputed down to 1 member. BBC down to 1 member. Temper, I think, was still 2 remaining. Oh, Patchy. Never mind. It's a 1-to-1-to-1-to-1. Are you kidding me? There's 4 teams left and each team has 1 member.
This is great. This is great. We are going to see the skills of each one of these players be tested right now. Gunner knows exactly where Falak is, just waiting for the push out of the smoke because that blue zone, it's doing the damage. It's just nudging Falak forward, waiting until he exposes himself. Of course, sleeping out, taking a little bit of initiative, trying to look for some kills, not going to spot anyone out just yet. Gunner in a really, really good position up there on the top of that silo. But are they going to be able to maintain that? Because Sleepy is aware of the positioning, might just be able to get a pot shot if Gunner exposes themselves, but not just yet. That blue zone still moving forward for Luck, edging closer and closer, keeping BBC hopes alive. But is that going to be for much longer? The shot comes in from Falak, takes Sleepy down. So that's an extra kill right in Falak's pocket. But is Gunner going to return the favor? That's the question. He's got his eyes peeled right in this direction. He knows he's waiting for Falak to expose himself. 3 players and 3 teams, each represented by their 1 player. We've got Sahil for UAE. We've got Gunner for G3 Temple. We've got Falak for BBC. The question is, who is going to come out on top? Who is going to find that chicken dinner? We are ever so close, but the teams are just waiting for that blue zone to force them to engage. No one wants to expose themselves just yet. They're going to roll the dice on this one and hope for the best.
Yeah, that zone is really going to be the determinant here. I mean, Gunner, he's got a pretty good position here on top of that silo. Of course, Sahil, initially we were like, okay, no, Undisputed, they definitely have the positioning here. But now, Gunner, he can just sit back. I mean, for them to now try and get up to where he's at the moment, they're going to be exposing themselves, as you mentioned. So he can just sit and wait it out. He just has to have BBC and the last remaining member there, Undisputed. So Sahil and Valak take a couple of shots at each other, and he can just sit and peek away at the leftovers here and potentially steal some kills. So Valak now down to half HP. If there's a nade coming through right now, it's not going to be a fun time for him. He's trying to rotate through, but Gunner's going to spot him out somehow, some way. Still, he's alive, but ultimately he goes down to the likes of Gunner. Now it's a 1v1 situation. Of course, Gunner just getting out of that fight. His HP is, hurting him a little bit, but he has no idea where Sahil is right now. Surely he has an idea, but to peek this, to expose himself, to try and figure out this angle, it's a risky move. It's going to come down to a 1v1. Is it going to be Undisputed AE taking their second chicken dinner of the night? Or is Temper going to be taking their first W of Season 3? That is the question we are all waiting to get answered. And that zone is now starting. You can see Sahil just slightly, bit by bit, etching forward. Man, Patchy,
Oh, man.
This is giving me anxiety, man. 1v1. We're waiting for zone. We're just waiting for zone right now.
All I could say is yes, please. We have the upcoming UAE champions of the previous game. You're already a chicken dinner in the pocket looking to make it a second. Then, of course, we have G3 Temper looking to rise up the ranks and prove themselves once again after their roster shifts, telling us that they can still find those chickens. This is going to come down to the wire. BBC's already done so much damage to Gunner, though. This might just be the end. Here comes the push. Not going to find anything just yet, though. It's just a game. They're just playing mind games right now, waiting for Gunner to get pushed off the edge. This might just be the last second for Gunner to make that decision. Has to jump off in very, very soon. Here comes the shot. No ways. He lands it. He finds the shots flying through the sky, and it's going to be Temper coming out with that chicken dinner, the first chicken dinner for their Season 3. Wow, what a shot from Gunner.
I'm sorry, do you expect me to have words after that? You expect me to take over?
That was brilliant. That was very, very well done. He waited up until the
flying
last
assassinated.
second and flying through the air, landed those headshots necessary to make up the difference in health and wins it out for G3 Temper. Well played, sir. Well played.
Sid, please, save me. I can't. What do I say to that?
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. So before I say anything, like my mouth has been wide open. I was literally, and just before I say anything, first of all, Patchy, I just want to say you called it, because you did say Temper had experience on this map and they had a way of coming through, and you literally called that they were going to win. Now that last skirmish was so intense. I was thinking, is he going to jump down? When is he going to jump down? And the other guy just edging forward, and that jump and the shots in the air, the headshots, because wow, listen, I'm going to leave the guys to break this down. That is so intense, and that is the excitement that we talk about and we see when we talk about the Umzansi Esports League. This is Season 3. The action can only get better. I don't even need to ask you guys what the highlight was for that particular game, because that last skirmish was it. And now what we have seen is we have 3 different teams come up with winner chicken dinners. Immortalz, UAE, and Temper. This is super exciting. Now listen, as you can tell, as a Niger boy, my stuff is beeping, which means the power's out. We could just disappear a second right now. So I'm gonna say this. This is the beginning of the best. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Umzansi Esports League. I'm here, Dr. Sid, with Patchy and Esmery. You guys need to join us again tomorrow as we bring you more action and the updated leaderboards of what's just happened today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Esmery, great job. Patchy, amazing job. Viewers, you don't want to miss the action. If you thought today was hot, you can only imagine what's going to happen tomorrow when groups D and C take on each other on our 3 maps, Erangel, Sanhok, and Miramar. My name is Dr. Sid. This is the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Nordwing Gaming. Make sure you follow us on all our socials to stay updated, and we will see you tomorrow for more action. Clear? Listen, yeah.